by Subway, where Tony Stewart goes to fuel up. Subway, race hard, eat fresh. And by Sprint, welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful. Welcome back at Daytona. Never before, more than 20 champions joining in for the command to start the 50th Great American Race. Let's go up to the play-by-play booth, and Mike Joy, who's back in his 2008 wardrobe. Mike?
Nothing from my closet was used in that shoot, Chris. I've already gotten text messages on my Sprint phone. Junior Johnson, the 1960 winner, and the winner of the Daytona 500, both as driver and owner. That's Buster Otten, senior NASCAR official, alongside in the pace car. And here's the view out the back of that Corvette Z06 that'll bring them down.
All right, audio should be good to go now. There we go. Sorry for that. Goodness gracious. All right, well, anyway, you guys did not hear any of that couple-minute intro. Oh, jeez. Yeah, let me know if you guys could hear the audio, and hopefully everything is synced well now. But thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. I pretty much, everything I went through so far, I shouted everybody out at the start of the stream, as usual. So thanks everybody for watching right now. But this is the 2008 Daytona 500. It's the first ever Daytona 500 and really Daytona race in general with the car of tomorrow. They did run a couple at least one super speedway race. I don't think both Talladega races had the car of tomorrow, but I know one of them did. I can't remember if it was the spring or the fall race, but I do think one of those races did have the car of tomorrow in it. And then obviously they raced all the short tracks with the car of tomorrow as well. But very, very little racing with the intermediates with this car going into the 2008 season. Of course, super speedways for the most part as well. Let's see how they handle this bumpy 2008 Daytona surface. Tires are probably going to matter quite a bit in this race. We've seen that in recent races with the Daytona 500s we've watched. And as far as my recollection of this race, I remember the winner. I pretty much remember about how the last 50 laps of the race went. But just, as usual, rewatching the races from start to finish, really for the first time since watching it live. I'll pick up on some things that I've forgotten and remembered as I go, or things I don't remember at all. And that's what's kind of fun with this, reliving all these classic Daytona 500s as far as this goes. But again, hopefully the audio is good to go now. Sorry for that. Getting into the starting lineup right away as the field's rolling out of the pits. Fox is covering this race as well. Oh, they're starting at the rear of the field. I kind of forgot Fox did this. Yeah, they started at the rear of the field and worked their way all the way up to the guys at the front. And they're shouting into the... this is weird. I actually forgot that this was a thing. The drivers are kind of announcing their own...
Jeff Burton, South Boston, Virginia. Elliott Sadler, Emporia, Virginia.
Dave Blaney, Hartford, Ohio.
Jeremy Mayfield, Owensboro, Kentucky.
It's like a...
David Gilliland, Riverside, California.
It doesn't have the pizzazz that the NFL Sunday Night Football has with theirs. I feel like they have to be a little quicker going through it. The idea was good. The execution, not so good.
Robbie Gordon, Orange, California.
Martin Truex Jr., Mayetta, New Jersey.
Kyle Busch, Las Vegas, Nevada.
It's Kyle Busch's first race as well with Joe Gibbs Racing in the 18.
Paul Menard, Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Dale Jarrett.
Oh, Dale Jarrett was still racing. I was thinking he retired in 2007 for some reason.
Greg Biffle, Vancouver, Washington.
Forgot him driving that 44.
St. Louis, Missouri. Kevin Harvick, Bakersfield, California. Juan Pablo Montoya, Bogotá, Colombia. David Reagan from Unadilla, Georgia. Bobby Lamont, Corpus Christi, Texas.
Jacob NASCAR also welcome into the stream.
Arkansas. Carl Edwards, Columbia, Missouri.
Casey King, Enumclaw, Washington.
Casey Mears, Bakersfield, California.
I mean, you could turn down your own volume if you think
Jeff
I'm
Gordon,
streaming.
Charlotte, North
Oh, I
Carolina.
mean, I have the audio setting, at least for my own mic, set at the same every time.
Tony Stewart, Columbus, Indiana.
Reed Sorsey, Peachtree City, Georgia.
Denny Hamlin from Chesterfield, Virginia.
Plus, it's echoing.
Mooresville, North Carolina.
Michael Walton.
It could be
Owensboro,
echoing.
Kentucky. I'm Jimmy Johnson from El Cajon, California.
Michael Waltrip on the pole. No, outside
It's the
pole.
second Daytona
Jimmy Johnson's on the
500
pole.
for Johnson, who also earned the first starting spot
Let
in
me-
his rookie year, 2002.
It might be echoing.
Make it a great race day with a perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Just turn left and enjoy Budweiser, the great American lager. What great pageant!
No, I don't think it's
pomp and
echoing.
circumstance to get the 50th running of the great race underway. There were only a few grandstand seats in the trial in 1959 when Big Bill France's dream became a reality. A 2.5-mile superspeedway faster than Indianapolis. And a great stock car racing tradition was born and continues.
Why is my
today.
quality so low?
Goosebumps.
Oh, it only goes to 240p. Well, that kind of stinks.
Because we know we're going to see a great race today after the speed weeks we've seen this.
We had better quality with the Daytona 500 we watched last week. Well, granted, it was 2011, but still.
Future. And I'm rubbing
Oh,
elbows
well.
with all my old buddies, and you got, yeah, I mean, it was just unbelievable. I got to tell you, folks,
No
I
echo.
was torn up as a can of kraut. I couldn't hardly stand it.
Larry, the fastest car doesn't always win the 500. There's a lot that's going to happen in these 200 laps.
Now, we've been down here.
Billy
for a
Kramer,
week and a
welcome
half.
into
We've
the
been
stream
running
also.
Sprint races. Now it's D-Day, 200 laps, 500 miles. Yeah, this start's going to be exciting, and trust me, the finish will be, but there's going to be so much happening in the middle part of this race. The strategy.
You use the
avoid big
NWR
making
99
sure you
font
make
for
no
Carl.
mistakes, and you know what, when it comes
I didn't
to the
think it
end,
was the same
that
font.
split-second decision, just like Kevin Harvick did a year ago, picking the right partner to go with. Mike, I've been coming down here for 28 consecutive years. I have never felt the energy and excitement that I'm feeling right now here.
But Darryl, 2 T's, tires and tempers.
Yeah,
Seems like the stream for you guys is much clearer than it is for me. Or at least my phone is
you gotta see
looking
it, you
that
gotta
way.
feel it, you got to touch it, you got to smell it. But the one that's most important is that common sense. Better use a lot of common sense if you're going to run 500 miles here and end up in Victory Circle.
We have a new toy
Chase
for
Elliott.
2008. And there he is.
Daniel McKeon, thanks for tuning in.
Gopher Cam. We have not 1 or 2, but 4 Fox Gopher Cams. One
Man, I didn't realize how long Digger was around on the Fox broadcast.
They'll be coming
We
out
watched
much
2011
faster
last
than
week,
that
and he
right
was
across the green
he
flag.
was there for that.
Speed here.
2008, I guess too. I remember having a 1/64 scale Fox diecast. It was a 2009, I believe.
We know Richard Petty's
It
won
had
a record
Digger on
7
it.
Daytona 500s. What crew chief has won the most?
Well, Richard had a couple of crew chiefs, but the crew chief that's won the most Daytona 500s with his crew chief, a man by the name of Dale Inman, was with
Billy
him
Carjoy,
for
welcome
5
into the
of those
stream.
wins.
Richard Petty's cousin, Dale Inman. Send your questions to foxsports.com, keyword FedEx, and we may pick you as our FedEx letter of the week. The crew chief for Richard's other 2 500 wins, his father, former champion and the winner of the first 500, Lee Petty. Late-breaking stories. Let's go downstairs first. Dick Berggren.
Well, most of the attention this week has been focused on Dale Earnhardt Jr., but keep your eye on that number 24 car. Jeff Gordon has won the Daytona 500 3 times. Most of his over-the-wall guys are back again, and he's got a fast car, Matt Yoakum.
In 1980, Kevin Harvick's parents gave him a go-kart for his kindergarten graduation. 27 years later, his storied career has seen a Daytona 500 victory. Now, he wants to do it back-to-back. And Krista, he told his team after the Gatorade Duel on Thursday, my car, extremely sporty.
It's weird seeing the Shell Pennzoil paint schemes with Kevin Harvick. Now I'm so used to it being Joey Logano. Last year, Tony Stewart was with Joe Gibbs Racing as well in 08. Tony with the mullet. Who remembers those days?
Krista, there's always a sentimental favorite.
Yeah,
This
mullet
year's
Tony
Marvin
Stewart.
Pants could be Joe Nemechek. He starts 41st, but forget about that. He's been one of the fastest drivers with the fastest car down here since testing. He's been one of the guys.
Are we talking about Joe Nemechek being one of the fastest cars?
Be a Cinderella story today.
He has to start out back, Steve. He missed driver introductions. But
I was gonna say he's starting at the rear. How does Joe? He missed driver introductions? I didn't even know that was possible. Who's this PR person?
I gotta go. And there was such a crowd between chapel service and the stage, he couldn't get there in time. It's okay. He only has to drop back 2 spots.
Oh, well, he's only missing 2.
There you see it.
That's all right.
Laps, 500 miles
That's kind of funny though.
after being out on the racetrack.
You never hear that would never happen now. There's no way anybody would miss driver intros now. I feel like PR people are pretty good with their job and timing and getting the, you know, their job is to get the drivers from point A to point B up until the start of the race. And he must not have had it. Maybe he didn't have a PR person. Maybe that was the problem. Joe's a little older. Even at this time, maybe he didn't have a PR person or feel the need that was right. And then after this day, he was probably like, you know what, maybe I need a PR person. Richard Petty waving the green flag. The classic boogity boogity boogity. I really wish this video quality was better. I'm not gonna lie. I usually don't complain about it, but this is the worst yet. And we were watching like the 98 500 2 weeks ago. That was much better than this. I don't know why it's only at 240p on my laptop. It might be better for you guys too, though, because you're able to watch the stream on better quality through this stream. Michael way out in front.
I think you've said it several times since the 150s. We really didn't know how good that 55 car was. I think we're getting ready to find out.
DW, he won't see 5 points for leading the first lap of the Daytona 500. That 55 car will lead it.
He left here 100 points in the hole last year.
Now he has 5.
2 of the big 3 race favorites are behind.
A couple of the JGR guys on the outside. I kind of like this Tony paint scheme, by the way.
And Reed Sorensen.
I got to brag on his gold wheels. He would just be torn up if I didn't. He's got those gold wheels on for the 50th anniversary.
And that may be Speedy Dry kicked up there out of turn 2. They'll take those gold wheels off of his and his teammates' car at the first pit stop and auction them for charity.
Huh.
Now it looked like the
Pretty cool.
Highline had a run down the back straightaway, but
As usual, we'll root for Dave Blaney today.
20, but Michael got a push from Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
See where he finished.
Looking to lead lap 2 here, but Johnson's going to fight back on the high side.
Mikey led that lap.
For the start of this race, this is the driver's worst time in the race right now, other than the finish maybe. Seeing what you got and getting settled in.
Kurt Busch at the tail. Did he wreck in the dual race or something? Is that why he's starting last? I noticed it didn't show the drivers who failed to qualify, or at least I missed it.
And oh, by the way, it's not red, it's white.
Even 2011 it showed. Well, maybe 2011 didn't show drivers who failed to qualify. I honestly can't remember now. I know the first couple races we did, it definitely showed it.
Really, really cautious right now. A lot of give and take. Don't get in trouble here in this big pack of cars.
Johnson will lead this lap. Jimmy Johnson, the defending Sprint Cup champ, holds off Hamlin. Now Hamlin with his teammate Tony Stewart pushing. They go for the front.
And you never know. Jimmy Johnson might have been even at that point saying, okay, if I was leading the race.
Tony scheme a throwback to his 03. Maybe? I really have no clue, honestly. I mean, it could be.
Oh, but they got the old rod.
I have no idea.
And they're pulling him right back in.
I didn't really pay too much attention to like the meaning behind paint schemes, honestly, up until really a few years ago. Like when I was younger, I was gravitated towards paint schemes, but I didn't really know the meaning behind a lot of them.
And for the first time in a Sprint Cup points race at Daytona, a Toyota leads a lap under green. It's Denny Hamlin.
As usual, also, guys, don't spoil the race down in the chat.
They've already had a 150 win. Hamlin sitting there. It looks to me like his car is handling a little bit better than everybody else the way he gets off of turn 2.
Whoa. Denny trying to break the draft? Man.
That's another one of those 3 wide by himself.
Yeah, you know, I thought only his teammate could do that, Kurt Busch, but I don't know. Hey, listen, it's important to lead this race. Right now, you know you're out front, nobody around you, take advantage of it. If they can't get up there to you, it's what I call working both sides of the street.
A lot more cars on the top than the bottom.
And then you jump to the outside and pull them up a little bit.
Tony did the lead.
Watching from Hamlin and Jeff Gordon. Hamlin's teammate Tony Stewart.
Was this the last year Jeff Gordon had the flame DuPont scheme? No, it couldn't have been. Never mind. That's probably not accurate. That's not an accurate statement.
Exactly what Stewart in the 20, Gordon in the 24 did that time.
Yeah, the reason that is, folks, is because that high line, you don't
Notice Reed Sorensen was in the top 10 at the start. He's still there.
a lot of straightaway speed.
6 of 200 laps this time by.
It's our 4th different leader already in 6 laps. Stewart, Hamlin, I think Johnson led a lap. Maybe he didn't. You know Waltrip led the first couple. He's back to 6th.
That we found out from a chassis down those after the 150s, these Toyotas are making a little more power than everybody else. And right now it looks like they're using it.
First race also for Earnhardt at Hendrick Motorsports.
Mike, a lap ago, Kevin Harvick keyed his mic and said something seems to be amiss with the motor.
Oh,
I'm not sure
Dale
what it
going
is.
below
Last
Mikey.
time by, he said, I think we're getting ready to blow up.
Wow, Harvick.
Big concern. We've worried about this all week long, about these engines working a lot harder than they ever have here at Daytona before. Got a little bigger plate, make a little more horsepower, turn a whole lot more RPM.
Michael Waltrip in the 55 car set on
Michael's
the
going
front
way
row,
back.
in what we call the sucker hole.
It's crazy. He started on the pole and he's already losing so much track position.
The way he did it and fall back, that means he got a real handling issue with that car. You got to get out of that draft and move to the back.
Waltrip's blue 55 in the middle, backing up.
Still going back. Might as well just keep going back at this point. Get yourself out of harm's way.
Could be, and a lot of time these cars are getting all these big, in these packs of cars, the front end will buff around a little bit, and that'll cause the engine to act like it's fluttering or missing.
You're riding with a Pied Piper of Daytona. Everybody wants to draft with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Now let me show you what Darrell's talking about. Just watch the RPM here, all the way around this 2.5-mile racetrack. It will not fluctuate 200 to 300 RPM, and that's hard on an engine. That's not as many RPM as will turn next week. But
Hornish inside the top 10 early also. I mean, that'll change obviously throughout the course of the race on our super speedway.
You get the distribution inside the engine all messed up, it'll start to detonate and shake itself apart.
Here's one thing we did not see in Thursday's qualifying races. 4 cars have broken away from the field. Single file. 2 of the Gibbs Toyotas. Stewart and Hamlin. 2 of the Hendrick Chevys. Gordon and Johnson.
And the only difference, Mike, is handling. If you can hold your car wide open around here all the time, you're going to pull.
Digger was more 2D at this time. He was 3D in the 2011 race we watched last week.
Get away from you.
Okay, let me know if you can hear the race audio perfectly fine.
9 laps complete in the 50th.
Sick helmet Jeff has, yeah. I mean, you put flames on a race car. I mean, come on, that's an easy W on a paint scheme. Oh, field really spaced apart during the commercial break.
Coverage today brought to you by DirecTV. NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV puts you behind the wheel.
Mike, Larry, these cars now are going through a transition. They burned off a little bit of fuel. All the pressures are up in the tires and the shocks and everything else. You might see
I thought Exalta was the same as DuPont. Am I wrong there? Or is DuPont just...
maybe doing things they didn't expect. Now they
I thought they just changed their name.
Jeff Gordon's number 24, Chevrolet in third. How's his car handling?
You can hear it? Alright. That's good. John Andretti's up to 16th already. I thought he started towards the tail. Same with Dave Blaney. Newman's followed backwards. He's back to 19th.
And that's great information to give to Steve Letarte. Pushing or shoving the nose means he's turning the front wheel and the car's not responding. These cars have mainly been fighting loose. The back end's been wanting to come around. But what Jeff Gordon knows is they burn the fuel load off.
Waltrip's all the way back to 31st.
Enhance the the car not turning.
And the big concern for all these teams is that right front tire.
Brandon Martinez, welcome into the stream also.
Too tight where it'll abuse that tire. We've seen some issues with that this week.
10-car lead pack. And at least one of them is a bit of a surprise. The Roger Penske number 77.
Case Mears hung out to dry.
Indy 500 winner. He started 19th. And Hornish has climbed up as high as 8th and is currently running right now in 10th.
Isn't this Hornish's first season in NASCAR? 2008.
He's about to break into the top 10.
I just got to tell you, Mike, I've thought this all along, and I still believe it. Sam's 28 years old. He can make it down here. He's got
Yeah, I think so. The way Darrell Waltrip's talking about him, I feel.
This 500-mile race like he does the Indy 500, he'll be around at the end.
You really see the car sliding around quite a bit in the middle of the corner. Some of them, it looks like the rear of the car is skewed a lot more towards the wall. I think they're all going to the top because there's more side force up there with the wall. There's probably more grip than what there is down on the bottom. It's crazy how much the outside was worked at Daytona at this time. It was faster because it was legitimately faster, not because of the draft making it faster. It was because on the track, might have been less bumps too.
Now that long snake is uncoiled. 13 cars, single file, in the lead draft. And sitting in third, the pole sitter and defending Cup champion Jimmy Johnson. Here's Dick.
Who also won this race 2 years ago. His car is just a little bit loose, Mike, and he is not running as well in the bottom as he is elsewhere.
A 500-mile race is like going on a trip out on the highway. You know, you just got to kind of ride along, look some of the scenery, maybe just take a break every now and then, and don't get too excited about when am I going
Still
to
a
get there.
name changer. Gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was the same company.
How much further is it? It's a long way.
Are we there yet?
Well, looks like right now he is pushing his teammate Jeff Gordon in a 24 car. Jeff will lead his first laps of this Daytona.
Well, there you go. Gordon to the lead now.
Gordon is
Mark
the
Martin's in the
leader
8 car.
today. And he's looking back at Denny Hamlin. And on the inside, his teammate, 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
I didn't realize how long David Reagan was in the 6 at Roush.
It's still an experiment. It's still it's still in progress. Every time they run this thing, they learn a little bit more.
I mean, like, I know of the years that he was there, but just, like, thinking about it, it's like, man, he was at Roush for, like, 5 or 6 years in the Cup Series. You would never have that long of a leash without good performance nowadays. It's just not possible. Same thing kind of goes for Michael Waltrip, really. How he went so long in his career before his first win. Like, Daniel Suarez was stretching it for sure before his first career win.
The Daytona 500 on Fox is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By the Ford F-150, built Ford tough. By Allstate, are you in good hands? And by Sprint, welcome to the 2000.
You know more about that than me with the paint scheme for sure. Honestly, didn't even know that.
Number 3 with a bullet, car number 18, Kyle Busch, as he drafts up on the new leader, Denny
I swear Kyle was in 10th on that.
from 24th to 2nd.
Kyle's got a fast car.
Anybody that will make me say wow more than that kid in that 18 car. I tell you, I said it the other day, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
He's kind of getting freight trained here. Hamlin had to go back to the top because that's where the numbers are, but Kyle's still somewhat holding his own on the bottom, though. He's got a couple of cars forming in line behind him. Yep, Martin and Almirola share the ride. I remember in 07, I think Mark Martin literally ran every race that the car of tomorrow wasn't being ran in. I could be wrong on that.
I think this is now when drivers and crew chiefs are going to get a little bit of pins and needles because this is that area when we've had a few tire issues over the course of speed.
I can understand that to a certain extent. I think part of it was he didn't want to race that car as much as he could because he liked the Gen 4 car. Just driving it, most of his Cup career, especially to that point. and he had been in the sport so much longer than a lot of other guys that were still racing at this time. Almost everybody that was at least in somewhat competitive equipment.
Today it's going to be a huge learning curve for Sam, being in this type of an event in real race conditions. Yes, Thursday was a qualifier, but today is all about learning and trying to impress others for gaining more stock down the road. But DW, the one thing he's saying, and he sounds like a veteran, my car is pushing, I'm going to the top, and I really don't want to make too many adjustments to it.
Hey, Matty, you know why I think he'll make it down here? He is from Defiance, Ohio.
Harnish is an Indy 500 champion, but he is a NASCAR rookie.
Again, don't spoil it in the chat. You know who you are. That is the final warning.
And Kurt Busch in the Blue Deuce, who had to take the champion's provisional, Krista.
Yeah, Mike, it has been a bad couple, about a week and a half for Kurt Busch down here. You mentioned the phrase snake bit. That is exactly what's been happening with Kurt Busch. Really, ever since he got to Daytona.
Kurt's still back in 29th. I don't know how much he's trying to like really move forward though, considering it's so early.
The team got into gear. They're up on the wall.
Well, all right. Well, never mind. I guess he has a vibration. Yeah, that's terrible luck.
Definitely one of the cars that has shown a lot of tire wear and tire problems this week.
The best story I heard about a vibration, AJ told it. He was leading the race. He said he had a vibration. Leonard Wood said, AJ, you know how much it pays to lead this race? I don't know what it was, $200 or $300. AJ called back in and said, vibration went away.
You're looking at Kyle Busch up close.
Oh, Junior making a move. It's crazy. I don't really remember the cars being this spread apart. Like, it almost looks like they're racing on an intermediate. Like, they're able to stay close to each other in the draft, but they're not really trying to draft in the corners. They're just trying to go where the car handles the best. It's like a perfect hybrid of, like, an intermediate with a super speedway. The bumpy Daytona.
The only red jackets I've seen of the fans walking into the grandstand are those of Casey Kenyon. All that red junior stuff, it's in the closet, it's in the trunk. They're wearing white and green or something else.
This is where they were part throttle not to keep it off the cars in front of them in the middle of the corner and keep from, you know, making contact, but it was more part throttle just because that's what you needed to do for grip. You couldn't stand wide open.
In the same speed week.
I like that. I like what I'm seeing with those hands. Look how relaxed he is coming down the little front straightaway here.
Hamlin's getting way out ahead. Once Junior and Gordon got side by side. Oh, Kyle. I thought he was going to take it 3. Smart move just to push the 24, though. Big push. He couldn't clear him, though. Now he's going to slow the 11 up. He's going to be able to... If he didn't swing so far low, he would have been able to just drop right in line behind him. That was a big mistake. Wonder if Johnson's going to go down with him. With his teammate. Good little 6-car battle up there, though. It's crazy how many cars have fallen off already.
8 laps complete in the Great American Race on Fox. Denny Hamlin, the leader. Richard Petty won the Daytona 500 7 times, more than any other driver, and today he waved the green flag to start the Great American Race. His car, number 43, today driven by Bobby Labonte, runs in 22nd position. His son,
so that's why Dale Jarrett was probably in the 44 then.
Runs in 43rd.
Oh, he's got that big grin on his face, that big smile. You done what he's done, you'd be smiling.
Makes sense. Vincent, welcome into the stream.
Jr., the 88 car, gave his teammate Jeff Gordon in the 24 a little bump draft. The thing about that makes the bump draft so unique.
Yeah, so you got 3 Hendrick cars. And then you got 2 JGR Toyotas inside the top 6, and then Hornish is the outlier. I think he's in a Dodge.
7 lead changes among 5 different drivers.
Could be wrong on that, but I think he's in a Dodge.
Mike, we've been watching these packs go around the racetrack, and I've been watching the lap times, 48.90, roughly 49 flat. If you go back and look at practices on Friday, Saturday, lap times in were down in the low 47s. If you don't think the heat around this racetrack is having an effect on these race cars, and guys, it may be a salvation for the tires. We've run longer, and we've run all week long, 32 laps without an issue right now. It may be because...
Jarrett with MWR. Oh, okay. Maybe. I actually don't remember that. Was that an MWR ride? I didn't realize he had 3 cars at this time.
NASCAR-related questions online and get answers instantly. Go to foxsports.com/ask.
It's easier for me to personally remember, like, who won, you know, a particular race in a specific year more than it was, like, who drove a specific car. Unless they were, like, a really notable name at the time, like, competing for wins and stuff. Like the Labanis towards the end of their career, like, I can't remember what all, you know, cars they drove, because they drove so many different cars pretty much from a year on to year off basis. Part-time as well for most of it. Dark Crypto, welcome into the stream also.
Matt Kenseth has gained 17 positions since the start of this race, not known as a great qualifier. But Kenseth coming toward the front. He is in 11th as green flag pit stops begin.
And this is not to the fuel window. I think this is pretty much just being a little conservative in the beginning, making sure they're in good shape with these Goodyear tires.
Yeah, that's smart. Because obviously grip level's huge at this bumpy Daytona, plus it's the first year with the new car, and we'll know later on in 2008 how many different tire issues they would come across, but kind of similar to what it was this year with the next-gen car in real life. Well, I should say up to date. This is real life too. This is just a little while ago. 15. This race could be 15 years old this coming Speed Weeks. That's insane. 2008 does not feel like it was that long ago.
Get that planted in your mind, and you can't get it out. And the first time a car shakes a little bit, you're hitting pit road.
Casey Kane's in, Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, Reed Sorensen on pit road, along with Clint Boyer, Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman. And add to that list Scott Riggs and Jeremy Mayfield, the Haas cars. Steve.
A lot of pit stops going on. This is going to space the field apart even more. Harvick was having engine issues earlier, but he's still in it. He blew an engine in the 2011 race. RCR in general blew a couple engines. I think Kyle Busch is going to win the 2023 500. That's interesting. Noah Coleman, thanks for tuning in also. Yeah, retired after Bristol. I do remember that. I thought it was 07 for whatever reason, though. I wasn't thinking it was 2008.
Losing a lap to the leader. Denny Hamlin. Now Sam Hornish is just out in front of the leaders. So McDowell wasn't in the 00 for this race, then, is what you're saying. I didn't pay enough attention through the starting lineup at the start. We're told that Jeff Burton missed his pit, overshot his pit, has to go around.
Well, he actually, I think he backed back up and got in his pit box. He completed his stop, but lost a ton of time to that group of cars he pitted with.
Matt?
And service already complete on Michael Walker's Toyota.
A lot more cars coming in again. Oh, side by side.
Here are most of the leaders coming to pit road. Gordon, Earnhardt, Busch, and Johnson. And a whole lot of cars following them in. Steve.
You can tell Gordon was a lot more conservative trying to come in than Earnhardt. Trying to get the commitment line. Uncle Car Guy, thanks for tuning in also. Yeah, Dario Franchitti was racing in NASCAR. Right at this time. Yeah, this is the start of the open wheel invasion. Well, it wasn't the start. I guess kind of like 2006, 2007-ish was the start. But it really came into effect around 08, 09. I don't know. It's way too early for me to predict the 500. It's such a bold prediction to take a pick like any time before Speed Weeks, before the cars are actually on the track.
Joe Nemechek will come back down pit road. He's got a tire rub on his number 78, so he'll make a second pit stop.
Oh man, Dave Blaney's got some damage on the right side of his car. Did he get in the wall or something?
Yeah, actually they're going under the hood on that 78 car, and it must be something more than tire.
There's a donut on the right rear. He got into somebody. It wasn't just the wall. There was a donut on the right rear of Dave Blaney's car, so he made contact with somebody on the track. These guys are so far above. I've never seen it like this. Like, this modern day, really. Oh, wait. Like, I've seen it like this, you know, watching back races from, like, the 90s and behind, and even then they were more bunched together.
Here's something else I just noticed. The average speed. We're averaging 182 miles an hour here, boys. It's getting it done.
Bit of concern in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit, Matt.
Warner's still in the top 5.
You don't want to hear over the radio is your drivers say, I have a vibration. That's exactly
Ooh.
what Junior said to his team. He says, boys, please make sure you get the lugs tight.
Yeah, not good when you have a vibration when you first come out of the pits. That would be on the pit crew. Yeah, Johnson's supposed to be in the race this year.
In about 12.5 seconds. You always run the risk of a loose lug nut.
Trouble for one of the rookies, Paul Menard, slid through his pit, had to back up. That slowed his stop. And front row Joe Nemechek almost started on the front row, but he's the first car out of the 500.
The Daytona 500 on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment.
This is feeling most similar of the races we've rewatched to the 98 500. Caution free, got through a couple pit stops.
42 laps complete.
They didn't have their first yellow until like 80 to go. They were about a quarter of the way home. Got through. The only difference is they can't go quite as far on fuel. Well, they could have went a little further on fuel, but it was more pitting for tires. Very few of these drivers actually took it to the end of the fuel run. Yeah, good teammate work, hanging Gordon out to dry. That was pretty easy for him. It's like Gordon kind of split the 11 and the 18, though. He's in second right now.
When he races in the Craftsman Truck Series, they put Rowdy Bush up over the door. He is kind of reminiscent of the character in Days of Thunder.
But you know, in the pre-race, you heard Jeff Hammond talk about 19 different driver crew chief combinations starting this 2008 season versus last year. I have said ever since it was announced that I felt like the real winner out of all these changes and swaps could be Joe Gibbs Racing with that kid right there. If they'll just keep a little tension on the chain, just a little bit, and get him 100% out of him, not 110, there's no telling how many races they can win with that 18 car.
Well, Larry McReynolds was foreshadowing something there. Be honest. I was looking up at the leaderboard. The 99 has Hornish Jr. on it. They got to fix that. I just happened to glance up. I saw 99 Hornish Jr. on that. Is that a typo, meaning Edwards is actually in 10th, or? That's strange. No, Ruderman is in this race. He is in the 00. Okay. Oh, but you said McDowell. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And I think that's why we saw those cars hit pit road a little early before they needed fuel.
I thought McDowell and Ruderman split the season.
We've seen that in years past, but in 2008, NASCAR is mandating a special plate. Not only like we normally see a wheel spacer plate, this plate has got to be between the rotor and the wheel. It's a special hard plate that NASCAR says has got to be there in the event so if the wheel gets a little bit loose, it doesn't start gouging into the aluminum hat or the softer steel plate. Special hardness mandated by NASCAR in 2008.
I feel like they would never talk about something like that if a rule change during the course of a race. You hear about that stuff during the week, you know, through the NASCAR news, whether it be like via YouTube or if you're watching Race Hub during the week or something, they'll talk about it briefly, but I feel like during the race they wouldn't talk about something like that.
after 35, 36 laps.
They did talk about some changes made to the car throughout the course of this season, but I think it was more from a safety aspect than anything else. Like when they were having a bunch of fires, and if there was another fire, they would talk about what NASCAR did to try to get rid of it. NBC was more prepared for that stuff for sure.
Well blistered, Mike, but I've been up and down pit road, and the majority of tires I have seen come off cars look quite good. Jeff Gordon also had one blistered, but Jimmy Johnson's tires just the tiniest little bit of an issue that was just beginning.
Yeah.
So it probably has a lot more to do with setup than the tire itself.
I'll tell you, I know our lap times fall off at the end of a run, but the overall average speed here, I just keep watching that. We're over.
It's crazy to have that kind of blistering in a tire on a super speedway. That's got to be so scary.
Gordon wants the lead back from Kyle Busch.
Like, all right, I don't know if he's going to make it a full tire stint, but
He is trying to handle
that really changes the strategy up quite a bit, too.
Of course, that's teammates you're looking at there. Kyle Busch, the 18, Denny Hamlin in the 11.
If Gordon wants help,
It is Edwards in 7th, by the way. Yeah, they still have the 99. Look at that leaderboard. They have 99 Edwards and 99 Hornish Jr. I thought I saw that right the first time, so that means Edwards is probably in 7th and Hornish is in 10th. They just got the wrong number on Hornish.
I know one thing, guys. We talked about him a while ago, and we have witnessed this ever since these cars.
Makes me wonder if there's any other mishaps in the leaderboard.
Matt Kenseth in that 17, Carl Edwards in that 99. They just keep on keeping on, and they made up a lot of ground, which is not surprising, on those green flag pit stops.
If you told me Matt Kenseth wasn't going to be in this race before the day is over, I'd say you don't know much about racing.
What did I hear someone say earlier in the week? It's David Pierce.
Didn't have Jeff Hammond for the 2022 season.
Denny Hamlin to the bottom. Denny Hamlin.
What, on Race Hub or just? I mean, they haven't had him on like Fox during the actual race like the broadcast. I think they really, since they got rid of Chris Myers the first time, I think. Like, they brought Chris Myers back, but Jeff Hammond wasn't back with him this last season. Whatever year Chris Myers first left before coming back to NASCAR, I think Jeff Hammond went away at the same time during the race broadcast. Not sure exactly what year that was. It could have even been when Gordon came into the booth. I might be wrong on that. He might have stuck around a little bit longer, but it might have been around the same time frame. Second group starting to catch up to the leaders. They got more cars, staying more organized. A lot of changing for position going on in the top three, and less cars. They're slowly starting to bunch back together. Hornish and who's that? Sadler in the 19, trying to lead everybody in that third group also up.
Sweep the weekend, essentially. They won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race with Todd Bodine on Friday night. They won the Nationwide Series race yesterday with Tony Stewart. So they're trying to sweep this entire weekend here at Daytona.
And you know, as I look at these cars, Mike, they have gotten strung out a little bit, but they're not out of touch. They're still cars that can catch back up.
Now, early in the race, Matt reported on a possible problem for Kevin Harvick, the defending champion.
Yeah.
500, who thought his engine might be going south. Matt has an update.
Mike Harvick back in the 22nd position. He said his car was tight. They put some tape on the grill on his pit stop, but Harvick says the car is just painfully slow. He's tried the top. He said it seems like he's better on the bottom, but all the fast guys are running up top. That's a big hindrance for the defending 500 champion.
And evidently Kevin was...
You know, that's kind of interesting, though, to have engine issues and still throwing tape over the grill, because that would heat the engine up. I mean, he didn't say anything specifically about having an overheating issue with the engine, but still. Busch and Hamlin pulling out of line with each other again. Yeah, that's... I mean, that second group gets to Gordon or whoever's going to be in third at the time. They're going to have a pretty big run. These guys still going side by side. Hamlin about got in the wall.
Could be a couple of things. Your car doesn't handle well with somebody behind you. Either you're happier with it out front. It could be the tape issue.
Dale Jr.'s got a fast car, too. He's the one leading the second group.
Or maybe you're just 22 years old.
They're slowly getting there. They're not quite in the draft yet. Top three are going down to the bottom in the middle of the corner when they're not passing each other, too. This is the top for that second group. I mean, 3 versus 5. I mean, 5 still has the numbers.
That's what I was saying, Larry. Nobody, some of these guys are strung out, but they're not out of touch. There's enough draft back there to pull you up if you get lined up.
That second pack led by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now they're just 0.8 of a second behind the lead group and gaining.
Our gopher cam showed us the difference in the lines that those two groups are running. The top 3, they were around the bottom through 3 and 4. The next 5 cars right around the top side, trying to keep them wound up.
And now Junior can snip the draft from those 3 lead cars and should pull right up to them.
Trying to keep them wound up, Larry, and the driving ride.
Hamlin's led 29, 10, 8, 4, and 2. Jamie McMurray back at 26, too. He's usually pretty good at Daytona. Pretty much any race we've seen outside of 98 because he wasn't racing. But the other 3 races we've watched, he's been like up in contention almost every single one. Gordon's got a big run. That's crazy. He's got that run at Daytona without the draft, though. That tells me that the cars on the outside are able to maintain full throttle a lot easier than the cars on the bottom. I know they showed the onboard and the throttle input from Dale Jr. earlier when he was on the top and he wasn't lifting. So maybe that's the difference, is that you're just able to stay in the gas on the top, keep the momentum up, versus when you're on the bottom you're having to lift, even though it's the shortest way around. It's the only reason it's somewhat even of a lane is just because it is the shortest way around the track. This game, though, if you're lifting, you're losing. NASCAR 09 next. Now we'll be moving on to 07 after 06. Oh yeah, now they're really going to get a run. Gordon got to the outside of Hamlin. Hamlin's going to have to drop back in line behind the 24 quickly before the 88's got too big of a run. Because otherwise he's going to go backwards. Because Dale Jr.'s not going to make a move to the bottom with his big run if the 11's down there. He did not move up quick enough. Unless he's got a chance to off of turn 2. Can't tell where he's at from this angle. Yeah, he's still staying down there. Yeah, it's too late now. Kyle goes down to try to pick him up. See if he can maybe draft his way up to second that way.
So not happy at all with the behavior of the car, even though Gordon is running second. Steve.
Dick, listening to Kyle Busch's spotter, Jeff Dickerson, he just said, hey, let's take it easy. Let's ride for a while. And Kyle Busch said, negative, Ghost Rider. These guys are racing up here.
I would say they are.
Hamlin's still on the bottom.
61 laps into this race, we have had 7 different leaders and a dozen lead changes.
He's being patient down there, though.
Like I said about
He's got a fast enough car. I think he'll be able to stay in the draft. Once he falls all the way back in line. It's amazing how long it's taken him, though, to go backwards. He literally has no help with any sort of draft. I mean, he's maybe losing a spot or 2 every lap, but now if you were to be on a line like that, you'd be backward. I mean, you'd be back in like 20th by the end of a lap. And there isn't as many cars in the lead pack, too, so I guess the energy's not all the way up there, but still, I mean, that's just, it's actually impressive, because he's not even side drafting a whole lot either. A little bit off the exit of the corner he was on Ken's at that time off turn 4, but he's not side drafting a whole lot. Yeah, it's definitely a tame race.
We cannot document enough, and Darryl, you were out there yesterday in your ride and drive.
It's the tamest of the 4 we've watched so far this offseason. At least to this point.
All the in-car camera stuff we've seen all week long, a driver is busy in that race car.
Yeah, don't think about them, folks, as much as bumps as they are dips. And the cars hit these dips in the racetrack, it launches the front wheels up in the air. And it makes the car difficult to drive. The guy that can master
Oh, Kyle, what was that? Wrecked himself trying to block his teammate.
He did. Oh, okay. That's his teammate, though.
He did his teammate yesterday, Tony Stewart, the same way.
Not racing like a teammate. Hamlin is still up there.
You drive all over the place like he does. Look at him. He goes top, bottom.
And he's up to second.
You're gonna have a good handling automobile to do that.
I thought he was kind of dead in the water. He was going to go to the back of this lead pack, and now he's in second. He stayed on the bottom lane until he found a hole. Now he's going for the lead on Kyle Busch. I think the 11's got a really fast car. Oh, he's clear. Yeah. Denny's got a quick car. He's going to be tough to pass until pit stops. Top 3 starting to get away again. Even though that rest of the group was right there. Now the Hamlin's back in line.
They got it all. What Hamlin call you?
Charles.
65 laps complete. Denny Hamlin leading in Daytona.
The Daytona 500 on Fox is sponsored by FedEx. Every day is race day. By the Auto Parts Expert.
Fitting they had to slide a FedEx sponsorship in there with Denny Hamlin leading.
By DirecTV, NASCAR Hot Pass only on
Production crew's probably like, yeah, let's slide this in there now. That was a good time.
by non-drowsy Claritin allergy products.
The last 5 lead changes have all been between Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin.
Kyle back in the lead again. Now it's just 2 cars pulling away. See Greg Biffle closing in. Oh, Sadler got against the wall. He was in the top 10 too. That stinks. He was having a good race up to that point. That's tough. Oh, man.
Now, Elliott Sadler started 35th over the course of 69 laps.
Who was that threw the block on him?
Stop without a caution. He had driven up to the top 10. He is up to the 9th position.
Didn't show him getting into the wall, but
Away from him up in the corner, got against that wall.
the DirecTV blimp.
I'd say we're definitely within that window over the next 4 to 5 laps. We'll see pit road a very busy place.
Larry, we come down here, we've seen Fords dominate, we've seen Chevrolets dominate. But today, a look at the leaderboard shows that Toyota has led all but 5 laps of this race. Jeff Gordon led 4, Bull-Sitter Jimmy.
It's definitely the Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin show right now. Now Kyle's starting to pull away from the 11 again. 22 and 32 laps led. I think Stewart led 1 lap also.
You know, Larry, let me say, do you recognize any of these guys sitting up here on this pit box? Do you recognize my buddy Darian Grubb sitting here behind Tony Yuri Jr.? And over on the other
$300 for the sports channels per month. Yeah, that's a little too much.
They have been with Hendrick for a long time. Darian Grubb,
And you can literally go on a streaming platform for like a third the price or less for all the same channels. Just a little delayed. I mean, that's like the only difference.
That's what's calling this race for Dale Jr.
You just need good internet. As long as you have good internet.
They got help. Good help.
a lot of depth.
Like, I have Spectrum internet. I don't have their cable.
Casey Kane, the top Dodge in 7th.
How about Sam Hornish? There's no way he drove his way up there. He had to have pit already.
19 car behind Kyle Busch, the 18. What Elliott is trying to do is stay in.
I know Sadler pit. Sam Hornish had to have pit.
If a caution comes out,
Either that or he gained a lot of time during the commercial break because he wasn't even up in that lead group.
field is frozen, gets what we call a free pass.
Gotta wait for the scoring monitor to scroll all the way back to the leaders to find out for sure.
Casey Mears was a top 10 car earlier. He had just fallen out of the top 20 as he comes to you.
And he is on pit road, Mike. They're all going to be taking 4 tires on this stop. Everybody certainly is aware of the need to take good care of their tires. Right now, Mears having a perfectly good stop underway. No major changes to the chassis on his automobile. A lot of people pick Mears as a dark.
You ever talk about Joe Nemechek having a fast car? I don't even think he made it. He missed the driver intro. Started towards the rear. He's in last still. I don't even know if he's still in the race. I was shocked that they even like tried to hype him up before the race started. I did not take that seriously from the start. I don't even know where he finished in this race.
Going to be the thing that propels him to
could have had a top 10 and proved me wrong, but
I think you're right, Mike. I think there's a lot of
it doesn't look like it's the case.
potential there with him.
Comes Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42 car, Kyle Petty in the 45. Again, all these are scheduled green flag stops. What I see is they're adding some laps to the green flag run. 34 to 36 the first time. Now it's getting up there to about 38, 39 laps.
Caution free in this Daytona.
You can tell that the tires really do matter, though. Assuming Hornish has fresh tires, because he is keeping up with the Toyotas. Really, nobody could before that.
Matt Kenseth said his car is pretty good. He says it's a little loose, but I don't know if I would really mess with it too much. He is very happy with the number 17. He started 28th. He came in 5th. Matt?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. says no vibration on the right front, but I don't need to know that to know that the right front is absolutely gone. He also said the car was tight. He said, how tight? He says tight. He said it 5 times, Dave.
And it shows Nemechek in the pits. Maybe he's still in the race then. Seems like a long stop for Johnson, trying to get as much fuel in it as they can. He was in that pack, and now he's... Yeah, it's a lengthy stop. They got a problem. That's tough. It's a lot of track position loss for Johnson. R6, Matthew Dorta Bruno, thanks for tuning in.
Their teammate Tony Stewart in also, Krista.
4 tires fuel for Tony Stewart. He says right now his race car is loose. He also said before he came in, this
4.8 second stop for this time period. That's pretty good.
The longest the Daytona 500 has ever gone without a caution flag is all 200 laps. 1959, the first one.
Oh.
By Lee Petty, caution free.
Did not know that. First ever Daytona 500 went caution free. So it has been done before. Once and only.
Dodge to lead today, Sorensen. He pits along with Mark Martin in the 8. Ryan Newman.
Only happened once. It was the very first race.
Averaging 181 miles an hour.
And to still have that close of a finish after being caution free too, that's insane. Before restrictor plates? Well before it.
Somebody will be screaming, I can't drive 55 before it's over with.
We are just about cycled through.
Sorensen in from the lead.
Stops here. This is good news for cars like Sam Hornish in the 77, Elliott Sadler in the 19. This should get them.
I'm trying to see who still has to pit. Everybody in the top 10. Well, Sorensen's in now, so. Busch is in 11th.
When pit stops began, we had 36 cars on the lead lap.
He's way ahead of Denny Hamlin.
And now we cycle through.
Hamlin's working with some lap cars right now, trying to catch him. Kyle had a 12.8 second stop, though. He was way faster than anybody else I saw on pit road.
Jimmy Johnson on this stop.
I wonder how he got so far back.
They have 3 new over-the-wall members on what was last year's championship-winning team. Jack comes down.
Yeah, and the left front guy was fine, but the left rear could not get his job done.
Oh.
Very lengthy stop for last year's champion.
And that's the guy they've been working on is the Jackman, and looks like he let him down.
We'll update you on where Jimmy Johnson cycles through when we come back.
Billy Crampson, thanks for tuning in. Found the stream in your recommendation area. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for tuning in, new viewer. Oh, well, there we go. Caution's out. Is it a phantom debris? I really hope it wasn't a phantom debris caution. Like, you know what? This race has been way too spread apart. We need a phantom debris caution. I want to see them pick that piece of debris up. I wanted to see how long it'd go without a caution. Debris.
It's cooling off. Sunsets in about an hour and a half here in Daytona.
Yeah, and watching that track temperature is going to have a huge effect on how these cars have been handling. Some of the guys have been making adjustments because the car's been loose, and they may have to go back and take that back out as the track starts getting more grip. Track's definitely will get faster.
And we weren't too far away from where you thought pit stops were going to take place anyway before the first caution.
Yeah, we were able to get that through that second round. And it looks to me like we're starting to settle down a little bit, guys. Get into a rhythm.
Surprised Elliott Sadler's still in 10th after getting into the wall.
Back on an even kind of keel, so they know what to expect out of their race cars. Guys like
Must not have had to take too much time trying to buff the fenders out. They probably didn't. There's no way he had
as far as what they think their car needs.
that fast of a stop.
Just exactly what the doctor ordered.
Our average speed so far at a record pace, 16 lead changes, 8 different leaders, and that is your AT&T race break. Let's rejoin upstairs in the play-by-play booth for pit stops.
Yeah, not 1959 though, when they ran caution free. I don't think they were going 200 miles per hour yet. There's no way.
Let's see if everybody on the lead lap who is eligible to stop this time comes in.
I think they will, just simply because of those right side tires. I think we may see a lot of guys maybe go with just 2 right side tires. Steve Burns.
It's going to be interesting.
That is the plan for Kyle Busch, the 18 car. Just
Biff is
right
up there in the
side
top
tires,
5 now.
top off the fuel. Krista.
Steve, right side tires only for Matt Kenseth as well as his Roush teammate Greg Biffle. Matt.
Kyle Busch's pit crew's on it in this race.
They are working the tightness out of the race car. 4 tires for Junior, Dick.
And Jeff Gordon said the adjustments on that last pit stop made the car, and I quote, sporty.
There's your race off pit road. It does not include the 41 of Reed Sorensen, who stayed on track.
12 spots gained for Truex. Had to have taken 2.
A lot of work going on down.
Definitely a lot of 2-tire stops.
Leads the DirecTV race off pit road. 81 laps complete.
Denny Hamlin must have taken 4. He's not even in the top 10 anymore. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we do these Throwback Thursday streams once a week. And then realistic commentary on the other side of things. Obviously, because it's the off-season, there's no actual NASCAR racing going on. We'll do video game stuff during the week. And then on the race weekends during the year, I'll be doing live commentary for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series. I just did the Cup Series for the most part last season, but we're doing all 3 series. I'll have a change in my work schedule. I'll have my full-time job, so that way I can get you guys those live commentary streams all the way through the weekend as well.
Right behind. Denny Hamlin has led the most laps.
We pull together quite a few people for those races, too, so you get to watch a bunch of NASCAR with a lot of other NASCAR fans. It's a lot of fun.
For some reason, it's like synchronizing or whatever. You know, every time I roll into the pits, I don't use the clutch. I'm just kind of popping out of gear. It won't pop at all out of gear. I got to clutch it. And when I go to just shift on the racetrack, I really got to yank it out of the gear that I'm in and then pull it hard into the next gear. I mean, I'm being as easy as I can with it, but I mean, I can't get it to move. Yeah, and for the coming out of gear, you know, the dog rings are a little bit different. That makes sense. You'll have to use the clutch more than the transmissions last year. I can understand that, but it should fall into gear.
Always diagnosing what's happening with the race car.
And it's the start of a new year. There could be something different about the gearbox from last year. Feeling different.
Looks like we're ready for our clear and clear to drive restart.
Reed Sorensen still it. Oh, you know what? He might have been. Well, he was one of the last cars to pit, so that's probably why Reed stayed out.
Indoors and out.
Kurt probably stayed out because he's been outside the top 30 the whole race.
Sorensen in the 41, Kurt Busch in the 2, elected not to
Gotta get
come
my
to
phone
pit
charger.
road. We've got 39 cars on the lead lap. We've got 3 cars 1 lap down. Joe Nemechek is back out there, 28 laps down.
Time for our first crank it up.
Don't mind the pajamas. I wanted to get comfy for the race.
We're about to crank it up with the sound and fury.
It's cold. It's like 29 degrees.
Green flag.
I don't have to focus in too much like I would if I was doing any commentary. I had to get my phone charger. I was literally at 1%. Oh! Get off my screen. No, I don't want to download any of my pictures. That never pops up when I'm plugging my phone into my laptop. I usually have to actually open the tab up. Nice little crank it up. Oh, Kurt got to the lead easily. So nobody's working with Reed. Hanging the 41 out. Took 3 wide back there, though, trying to get by Sorensen. That is crazy. Nobody's wanting to work with him. Everybody was on the outside almost this entire race up until the restart, too. Now everybody's just evading the 41, who's in what has been pretty much the preferred lane all day.
He's hung on the outside in that 41 car, getting a little help and a bump.
Casey Mears gave him a push, but he was getting too much of a push from Earnhardt. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Mark Martin.
Mark Martin in the 8 car, he's in trouble coming through 3 and 4. We're hearing that a tire is down on that 8 car.
Oh, keep it down the track.
Came within 100 feet of winning the Daytona 500.
He is in harm's way there. So slow. They were.
Brian Vickers in the 83 car, he's coming to pit road as well. Looks like both cars will make it as we stay green.
Did a good job not having that car go all the way up the racetrack. That was dangerous.
The 2 brothers from Las Vegas, driving at number 2, did not pit, and yet he has been able to hold off his younger brother for the lead.
And what we've seen all week long, it's not that new tires make you faster. They just have more grip. You can maneuver the race car. You can drive through it there.
The only thing about that 2 car I've noticed is when he's got fairly good tires on, he can keep up. But his car seems to go away really, really quickly after 8 or 10 laps.
The Bushes are just the latest in a long line of brother acts in NASCAR that date back to the 3 Flock brothers in the early 50s.
The who?
Bonnie, Bob, and Tim.
Oh, he said the Flock brothers. Okay. Once he said their names, I recognized. I didn't realize they said Flock at first. I was like, who? I've never heard of them. My gosh, Vickers getting up to speed down on the bottom. Isn't that a blend line violation? Don't you have to be on the apron until you get off of turn 2? Maybe it wasn't at this time. I feel like it should have been.
The issues for Junior, the shifter ball, the threads are stripped, so the ball comes right up off the shifter. His crew members are trying to work a new shifter ball. That way Junior can put it on top of the shifter and then try to secure it with some duct tape. They're working on that right now, so that way they can pass it through the window the next time Dale Jr. hits pit road.
Bobby Labonte's up in the top 10. 43 car. Yeah, a lot of 2x2 racing at the front right now. We hadn't really seen that at all. Outside of like the first 6 laps of the race. I wonder how long they'll be able to go, though, before they start spreading apart again. I know this race ends in the nighttime, too, so the track, I would imagine, probably gripped up a little bit. Maybe just being in the daytime sun, it was a lot slicker.
Sounds to me like they didn't have enough air.
Being a sunnier day.
Maybe they had real low air that went in the corner and just kind of rolled them off.
One of the cars that has been hard up against it, the outside wall that is several times this week, has been Clint Boyer. And it appears today is not an exception. Let's watch from the direct TV blimp. Watch the 0-7.
Johnson way back in traffic. Wow. Look how Clint. Who was that moved up in front of him?
That's basically the same thing that happened to him in practice.
Can't tell. My
really fast.
graphics aren't well enough. The video quality isn't there. Couldn't tell who that was. I think it might have been the 40. It looked like his paint scheme from this race. David Stremme, I think, was in the 40 at the time.
But those cars have a little bit of a mind of their own when they get up there like that.
Well, I know one thing. We ran 79 laps, cost him free. They got strung out a little bit.
Stenhouse is not in this race now. I think, no, I don't even think he was in the Nationwide Series yet at the time. He might have been in 2008. He's definitely not in this, though. He wasn't a rookie until 2013 in the Cup Series.
Well, the other cars that I think, Larry, that we've kind of wondered about and worried about somewhat are the Roush cars and Roush Fenway cars. And if you looked at that outside line, that yellow car coming up through there looks pretty racy too with his teammate in.
Oh, that's very narrow.
3 wide through the trial, and the trial is far from being straight.
It's the hardest place on this racetrack, believe it or not. It's 18 degrees of banking, and you're running just as fast through here as you do through these 31-degree banks.
David Gilliland, former pole sitter for 500, made an unscheduled pit stop. He's back out on track, and Martin Martin's team reports that Martin ran over debris with both left side tires, and that's what cut them down.
If you look at the back of this pack right here, remember, Sam Hornish had to pit road unexpectedly.
He was in ARCA? Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think he was quite NASCAR at the time. Junior just about got squeezed. He had a massive run in the middle. Looked like he got a little loose off turn 4 also. Oh, 4 wide almost in the tri-oval. Edwards about got turned by the 77.
I don't feel too good about this.
That was a that was a couple of moments there. From like the middle of 3 and 4 all the way to the center of the tri-oval, they were still not organized. We'll say that. He had such a big run, he didn't want to lift. Then he moved up, and then they were 4 wide nearly going in behind him. Edwards tried to lift. A little contact that looked like from Labonte and Edwards. I don't know how Labonte didn't just get right hooked into the wall there.
Somebody definitely had to give there.
Then I got up here and I thought, that works just fine, thank you.
Kurt Busch, who's broken and hit the wall and had trouble all week long and had to start last. He's now first.
Yeah, it's crazy Kurt's actually got the speed to keep up with these guys at the front of the field because he was terrible up until those first set of stops. I mean, he couldn't get outside the top 30, and then he stays out. So he's slightly on older tires, and he's still hanging on. James Sykes, thanks for tuning in.
Well, there's something in that shot I'd sure like to have about 20 years ago, and it's that little thing.
Yeah, first points race with Busch in the 18. So pretty much, yeah, so the first race.
Have traded the lead. 2 laps ago, Kyle took the lead from older brother Kurt as Jeff Gordon looked on. Remember, Kurt Busch in the number 2 did not come in during the last round of pit stops.
Yeah, so he'll have to pit a little bit before everybody else, which is going to hurt him. I'm surprised at how even everybody else is, though, at this point in the race. I think a large part of it, though, why the pack wasn't pulling away is because Kurt was leading. I don't think he quite had the car that a lot of the others had. Johnson back to 30th. That slow pit stop put him back to about 15th, and he's lost even more spots since the restart.
The crew had been on the wall anticipating a pit stop, but he just said that he can hang on to it, so they've come off the wall. No pit stop right now, but Johnson with an extremely loose car.
No, they just loosened it up too much.
You know, not that many pole setters have ever won this race. What, I think it's 9, Mike?
9 times, 7 different drivers, 9 times a pole sitter has won the
Both the drivers who started on the front row pretty far back. Waltrip dropped like a rock after the first handful of laps. Now Johnson's back there.
Since Davey Allison, 1992.
I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you are also.
It almost didn't work out racing for that halfway money. But, you know, I just had talked about Ryan Newman in that 12 car, and he's been working that inside. He had been looking for his teammate, Kurt Busch, and now he's worked his way up into the outside line. Now he's back down to the bottom.
Yeah, Newman, we'll see how he'll do on the bottom. Hamlin was able to do it work that lane pretty well by himself earlier. Really shows the strength in his car, and him and Kyle Busch seem to have pretty much equal cars.
But look at those Roush Fenway Fords behind him. Greg Biffle in that 16 car.
Biffle trying to work with Busch.
In a July race a few years ago, he's tucked up the rear bumper of Ryan Newman.
Hornish pulling out of line. Sam Hornish has had a great race so far. He's literally been in the top 10 the entire way.
That's when Biffle won down here.
Jeff Gordon was watching them too, Darrell, and he has now dropped to the bottom. He'll pick up Newman, number 12 in the draft, to try to get by Kyle Busch.
Now here's what's going to happen. Notice turns 1 and 2 when we get a shot of it here in a little bit.
Hamlin giving Biffle a big push.
As this track cools down, that
pulled off the outside. Oh, Kurt's losing grip in the middle of the corner.
You see Jeff wiggle right there?
So did Gordon did too. Oh my gosh, Newman just got under him. Oh man. How did he get back in front of the 2? He had to have lifted and let him in. That bottlenecked everybody up so badly. He's still going backwards.
Darrell, I think what's happening to Kurt Busch, you talked about.
Wow.
Now he's seeing the disadvantage of being on those little bit older tires.
That's a short-term gain and a long-term loss.
Yeah, a lot of people definitely complained about the looks of the car, even to this day, but I agree with you. The racing with this car was phenomenal, for the most part.
The funniest in front of the camera is Brian Newman. He's got a great dry sense of humor. It comes through, and he's...
Run, Rafa, run. Thanks for tuning in.
Now, I got some good news. That's the shade in turn 1 and 2. But I got some bad news, too.
Caused the boring All-Star race.
Your eyes coming off of turn 4.
I mean,
As the sun goes down,
we haven't had too many great All-Star races in recent years either, so
being able to see what's in front of
that's the least of my worries.
the player on the wing.
It's not a points race either, so
All right, Kyle Busch has led that.
yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world.
You have to go back to Davey Allison to find a winner.
It might have been ugly, but it was,
They used to pay a $10,000 bonus, and that used to be a lot of money to these teams. There's no halfway bonus anymore.
definitely a better performing car on the track. Once they got through the tire debacles that they had during the course of the first season with the car.
$6 million to win this race.
Watch the sun here as we come off turn 4 now, guys. As these drivers come off turn 4, start to look down.
A lot of cars going towards the outside. I think as the tires are wearing, that then they start to gravitate towards the top a little bit more because there's more grip up there, but they can really use the bottom well early in the run.
The spotters are right above us. The spotters.
What am I doing this weekend? Nothing outside of streaming some NASCAR 06, a lot of Busch Series racing. Still to come this weekend on the channel, and then also just watching some football, I guess. Watch the Packers potentially lose to the Bears this weekend. Rodgers is playing though, and he kind of owns the Bears, so we'll see. He's banged up though.
5 o'clock traffic jam in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, Kyle Busch is pulling away right now.
And Kyle Busch.
I would think that that's too big of a lead.
Look at that. That is a good lead to have at most racetracks, except here.
Wonder why they're letting him do that.
Kyle Busch running down a dream with 97 laps to go.
Honestly, 2008, 2009 was the best Kyle Busch had ever really been on super speedways. Won a Talladega race, I think, in 09. Daytona, too. Well, no, his Daytona win was 08. I think he won the 08 summer race. Obviously, he had some good cars.
Lead in Daytona. Look on the inside. 17 of Matt Kenseth and 16 Greg Biffle, 2 of the Roush.
Way back Wednesday? No. No, it's just Throwback Thursday every weekend. Or every weekend. Every Thursday. Hence the name. Well, they caught Kyle. He's still up there, though. On the outside, Kenseth's on the bottom now. He's got Biffle. Vickers is up there.
I tell you, Greg Biffle in that 16 car, he has been trying to push his teammate, Matt Kenseth, to the lead, and he'll
Oh, Kurt with a big block.
Ford has not lived.
Earnhardt, I think Earnhardt got into the 2. Kurt was in the grass. Kurt pulled down in front of Hamlin. That was a risky block itself, and then Junior moved down right into the 2 after the 2 moved down. I don't know if he was trying to block the 2 because the 2 was behind Earnhardt on the outside. 2 went down. I think Earnhardt went down trying to block him. Yeah, he went down to block him, and that was not a clean block. That was a terrible move by Earnhardt. Good job by Kurt not wrecking when he clipped the grass, too. I'm surprised they didn't tear the splitter up when he clipped the grass, knowing how low these cars sit. Wow. Kurt Busch was probably teed off after that one, especially at this time. Knowing Kurt Busch, probably cussing up a storm on the radio right now. Kenseth and Biffle bump drafting.
Just went through the grass. And his spotter says, I saw that. He goes, I know, he just went through the grass.
You know, I know Harvick's got a future in television, just not yet.
Biffle blocking Busch. Let's go, the Biff to the lead. He got a lap. He got a lap led in there. Let's go. If only Dave Blaney was up here too, I'd be even more ecstatic. Oh, Vickers is a lap down right now. I didn't realize that. Okay, right before they showed the ticker, yeah. But no wonder he's up there. So he's in the free pass position as long as we get another caution, which I know there is more cautions yet. So. I don't know when the next one is though.
getting within about that 10 to 12 lap window of what would be green.
Watched the 2006 Sony HD 500 last night. That was, is that California?
If you see what that last caution flag did for this race, I mean, it was all strung out, and they made green flag stops, got worse, but this last one gave everybody a chance to work on their car, fix some of the issues that they had, and man, we've tightened this field up considerably.
Yeah, that's also a good point that Daryl made, though. The fact that we have had a few pit stops for drivers to make adjustments or teams to make adjustments for their car, put it where their driver's liking is handling-wise, where when they unloaded, it wasn't quite the case. Which is kind of strange, though, because of, I mean, the Daytona 500 is the race, even to this day, that you have more practice for than any other race. Just with the dual race. And especially at this time, because the dual race was in the afternoon still. It's not at the night like it is now versus when the 500's in the day. Or mostly in the day. Finishes towards the night, but not until the very end of the race. Unless there's rain. Joshua Rumsey, welcome into the stream also. Yeah, go blue this weekend. For sure. Which one? Dega? Oh, I had my ears flip-flopped. I thought 09 was the year that Tony Stewart wrecked Kyle Busch coming to the checker.
Well, that 83 of Brian Vickers is one lap down. Ryan Newman is third, 0.7 of a second back. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his new number 88 is fourth. Jr. may become the
Maybe that was 2010 then. Yeah, I was thinking 2009 was the year Tony Stewart won. Kyle Busch ended up getting wrecked trying to mirror drive. It was. Busch won Dega 08. So are you saying Kyle Busch won Dega in 08 and 09? Is that what you're saying? I thought he only had one Talladega win.
Got his hands full, I can tell you that. Watch this. We're looking in the car coming off turn 4. That thing gets a little bit slide.
Oh, yeah.
Slide when look at him. Whoop, whoop. That's a whoop, whoop. It's a little hospital hop there almost.
Yeah, I like that. The hospital hop. I need to start. I need to incorporate some of these lingos into my live commentary streams this year. Whenever I see Larson make a great save or something again, I'll just start calling it the hospital hop. It's so terrible to say, though. But if Larry McReynolds could say it on the air, I guess I could. Boyer in the top 5. Busch blocking. Considering Vickers is a lap down, I'm surprised he's so worried about him. Busch has definitely made the most blocks at the front of the field than any other driver in the race. Hamlin probably second most right there behind him. Okay, so Busch won both in 08. Gotcha. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, like I said, this is definitely the best Kyle Busch has ever been on super speedways. He's had decent runs in the 500 the last couple of years. It's just whether can he get to the finish or not. As far as, getting, just running towards the front for a lot of the race.
Dylan's right. He bounced her off the wall in practice yesterday, and they bounced it off the wall a little bit earlier there. Maybe he's narrowed it up where it's faster now.
And remember, he finished 18th here last year in the 500. Oh, by the way, on his roof across the start-finish line.
Yeah, on fire.
There's Matt.
Wow, so close to that wall. He was a lot closer than Casey Kane was behind him, that's for certain.
Nationwide and next to our Sprint Cup car, but Boyer says the car just way too tight. That's why he's having to run so high up the racetrack.
You know what about a car? It doesn't matter how your car is. To you personally, it's how you are.
Newman pulling out of line.
Right now, he looks pretty
good.
Oh,
Edwards coming in already.
Carl Edwards, Regan Smith, Martin Truex on pit road. Mentioned too that rookie and IndyCar champion or Indy 500 Sam.
Watch him finally win the 500 and the 8 next year. That would be insane. I think the crowd would actually cheer him for that, though. Honestly.
We've got 82 laps to go. We still have every car out on
When was the last time a live crowd has cheered Kyle Busch for a win?
Kyle Busch the leader, Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Clint Boyer, your top 5.
That'd be pretty cool to see. It's going to be weird to see him in the 8 car during Speed Weeks next year.
Hey, you're watching the Daytona 500 on Fox. Let's hope I finish right side up this time.
Yep.
The Daytona 500 on Fox is sponsored by Sprint. Welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint.
No, this is the only stream tonight.
Speed is beautiful.
Only one caution flag so far in the 500.
Oh.
Here's Matt Kenseth on pit road.
Kenseth, big lockup.
13 cars came in, 11 of
Major
them
smoke.
last time. And here are 2 of the Roush Fenway Fords and all the Michael Waltrip Toyotas in. Krista.
Well, Greg Biffle thought he was toast when everyone came. He said we should have come, but instead Matt Kenseth came with him. They think they're going to be okay. They're making a track bar and air pressure adjustment for the number 16. Oh, a wrench was stuck.
You know, I'm surprised they went to commercial right there, right before green flag pit stops.
There is electronic timing.
They never do that.
All up and down.
They usually wait for the pit stops to conclude, or they have an idea of when they're coming into the pit, so they'll take the commercial break right before, and then when they come back, they're in pit stops. But this is the last of the cars to pit, I do believe, looking at the leaderboard.
Which means he has to come back to pit road. He doesn't have to stop.
Oh
Just
my
maintain
gosh.
that
Yeah, there was no blend line here.
entire distance.
They were on the bottom of the track all the way through 1 and 2. I don't think it's like that now. I think you have to take the apron all the way around until you get to the exit of turn 2.
Well, it's really in Scottsdale. It shouldn't get folks in Phoenix in trouble, but this right here, pit road, is one place where photo radar works pretty well.
Gordon all the way back to 29th. He's fallen way back.
For Kyle Busch in the 18, he said his car just needed a little.
And Edwards for that matter, because he was in the top 10. Now he's in 32nd.
Didn't look like any adjustments on the 18. They did, it was air pressure, and it was a small one.
Dario Franchitti,
Less than 80 to go.
his stop.
Newman leading. Well, eventual lead once the leaders all pit.
Now we have a couple
I said Stremme was in the 40 earlier. I don't even know why. I saw Franchitti up on the leaderboard so many times today.
led a lap, and then David Rudeman in double zero stayed with him.
Dario's wife, Ashley Judd, looking on from the pit box at her husband's Daytona 500 debut.
She's a home girl.
You know, out of all these green
What did that have to do with anything, Daryl?
that must have had an awesome pit stop.
Tell me you guys heard that too.
Who just drove by Clint Boyer in the 07. He was
She's a home girl.
outside the top 10, and now he just moved into 4th place, so a great pit stop by the home.
You just slipped that in there and nobody else, like, they just ignored it. Daryl going off on his tangents again. Scott Riggs in the top 15. In the 66.
Jimmy Johnson's team and Chad Knaus was the that car
Having a good little run going.
race, running better than when it ran at the start of the race. Could this be Stewart's season to win a 3rd Sprint Cup? Well, let's get down to Shifty and find out what's going on at pit road. Matt.
Well, Mike, a little update on shifter gate first for Dale Earnhardt Jr. This was the knob that they were going to pass through the window, but they didn't do it on the last stop. Now what they're doing is they're going to a backup.
Yeah, Kurt Busch is all the way back to 35th again. Right back to where he was running the entire first half of the race. You want to talk about a roller coaster of a Daytona 500? Kurt Busch in 2008 to a T. The only difference is he kind of finished more towards the higher end, so won't spoil it completely.
Yeah, that makes me a little nervous. That thing doesn't stay on.
He had to get off on the top of the coaster because of an emergency event.
75 laps to go.
You know, a couple of cars that were running well up in the top 10.
Bobby Labonte still in the top 10. Johnson's back up to 12th.
Martin Truex Jr. in the 1.
Wasn't he like 30th not that long ago?
All the way back to 25th and 26th.
That's amazing how quickly they got that 48 car turned back in the right direction, adjustment-wise.
3 Toyotas, 3 Dodges, 2 Chevys.
That's insane. Yeah, he was at 30th right before pit stops, and now he's
5 laps to go in the Daytona.
up to 12th. I'm not even sure how he did that, really. Plus, he pitted well before everybody else. Had fresher tires. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, they weren't really as spread apart before pit stops like they were at the start of the race before the debris caution. Which, by the way, the only caution to this point was for debris. I can't remember exactly what lap it came out on.
Let's get our Sears race
But they went a long ways before the first caution. Oh, Denny's got damage. Ooh, that's not good damage either. A little parachute on the left rear.
We only had 13 lead changes in the entire Daytona 500 race.
But they didn't even actually show what the debris was. It could have very well have been a phantom debris caution, which was the only caution of the race. Which stinks because this race could be caution-free to this point. That dropped the average race speed from like 180. I think it was like 182 after the first set of stops. Was the average race speed. Dropped it from over 180 miles an hour to down to about 171.
All these guys right now are figuring out where they can maybe take advantage of him. You take a look at the 11 car here.
Boyer up to P2.
Looks like that left rear quarter panel is definitely sticking.
That stinks for Hamlin. They haven't shown a replay of where he potentially got that damage from either. Wonder how that happened. He's still in 10th. Johnson just behind him. Story of Johnson's career just constantly coming back, yeah.
He bounced it off the wall. That right there is Regan Smith, one of our Rookie of the Year contenders.
Constantly finding ways to get good finishes. That's more like it.
Again, a lot of people are kind of like watching to see if there's any debris off that.
Is that Regan Smith?
So far, so good for the rest of the field. But
Regan's got some damage.
When they gang up on him, it's whether or not he can handle the pressure. We've seen he can drive defensively, and that may be his undoing.
We've only had one caution so far.
As long as the leaders don't get to him, there's no need to throw the caution. Most of the field's pretty much by him.
Using CV on your AT&T handset, you can access all the inside RCR content. Let's rejoin Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy.
Well, that was a tense moment for Regan Smith. He just shot him.
I mean, that'd be huge for Kyle Larson, knowing his career as a race car driver in general. How big it would be for him to win the Daytona 500. I mean, there's a lot of great, NASCAR champions that never won the 500, so if you can get his name up there, he's not a great super speedway racer, but he still had decent runs on super speedways with the next-gen car last year. Okay, so that was the 01 getting into the wall. Immediately down to the bottom. I feel like if that happened now, they would throw the caution. Even though the field's fairly spaced apart, I feel like NASCAR would have thrown the yellow now. I'm surprised they didn't throw it here, considering we had a debris caution. It could have been a legit debris caution, but we'll never know because they never actually showed it, what the debris was for. Busch led 63 laps. There's still over a quarter of the race to go. Ty Gibbs will win the chip next year. That's a bold prediction.
And Kyle Busch, who grew up racing in what we call dwarf cars in his native Las Vegas, as his brother progressed up through the ranks, is now leading the biggest event in stock car racing.
Now we saw these three guys working together in the 150s on Thursday. Dale Jarrett.
Kurt did get the win eventually, the 500.
Needed to race his way in, and Michael and his teammate David.
You are correct.
They all three worked together and got Dale in this race. Now they're working together to chase down this lead group up here and doing a pretty good job of it.
If they stay lined up like that, that's the fastest they're going to run. And that lead group, they keep mixing and matching up there.
It's crazy a 3-car pack could catch up to a lead pack in this time frame of Daytona. How bumpy the track is and lack of grip. Well, I guess the lead pack doesn't have too many more cars than them. A lot of like mini packs, 6 to 8 cars. I want to see Ty Dillon in the 500. Win the 500. So you're just pulling for another upset next year. We've had a couple upsets the last couple years. I think we're due for, somebody notable to win a 500. I don't want to see underdogs win it every single year because then it's going to kind of take the luster of an underdog winning it.
Well, today, as you see the sides of these race cars,
think about Austin Dillon winning in 18 and McDowell 2021, Cindric in 22.
Get close to the safer barrier or the outside wall or another race car.
Really, outside of Denny Hamlin's Daytona 500 wins, it's either Hamlin or an underdog the last 6-7 years. When's another champion going to win it, or, you know, a championship contender going to win it?
All of this is designed to absorb energy, also to help kind of like keep the shape of this race car in the event it does get close to another one. But the key thing is,
Chastain will win it. 500 and the Cup Championship. Who's the last driver to win the 500 and the championship same year? Johnson? 06? 2013. He did it twice. Yeah, he's done it twice. I think he's the last driver to do it once. I think he's done it twice in that time frame. Yeah, 2013 had to have been the last time.
Remember, he led 32 laps of this race. He's all the way back to 23rd, and he's running over a second slower than our leader, Kyle Busch, and he's about 18 seconds behind.
Yeah, Denny's just going to keep falling back until he gets to that first pit stop, and it's so late in the race now, too. He's not going to get back up there without a caution. Hey, Dave Blaney's a couple spots ahead of him, though. Is he in the top 20 then? Watch him be a lap down.
Officials and observers have judged that that flapping fender is not a safety hazard. It's not in danger of coming off the car.
No.
But they have told the team they must fix it on their next pit stop.
21st for Blaney. Hey, these 500s we've been watching, Dave Blaney's been very consistent. He has been anywhere between like 10th to 20th the entire race pretty much, in every single race. He was in the top 10 in the 06 500 the entire way until last 30 laps, and he kind of fell back. But it's one thing to kind of like go from the back towards the front and then like back again, but he's just consistently mid-pack the whole time. And not getting into accidents too, which is kind of crazy because if you're mid-pack that long, you're kind of bound to be involved in the big one, but not him. He was leading laps late in the 500 in the 2011 one we watched last week. He was leading with like, what, 30 to go?
Petty cars were pretty good yesterday in the final practice. Both of them, I think, I know that Kyle was up there pretty good, and I think Bobby was too. Both of them in the top 10 on speed, so they got some.
Due for the youngest ever 500 winner at 18. Could you imagine if Ty Gibbs won the 500 though? Oh wow, massive run by Hornish. Jeff Burton pulled up right in front of him, 77. Was like, okay, I'll just pick that spot up then. Bobby Labonte followed him. Bobby should clear. He should have moved up right away. Being patient though, smart driver. Too patient though at the same time. He definitely was clear. He could have moved up. He didn't. Hornish back in the. Hornish has ran a great race too though. Of all the underdogs in this race specifically, Sam Hornish has probably done the best job of any of them. I mean, he's been hanging out between, like, pretty much 5th to, what, 12th or so the whole race. And he's still in 10th. Dave Blaney won 2012, yeah. I think he's gone on the record for saying he's glad he didn't win it that way because he didn't want to be known as the guy that won the 500 like in that way. That would have been insane. That was a real possibility. I remember sitting at home like during that red flag hoping they would call it so Dave Blaney would win. I was more of a Biffle fan than a Blaney fan at that time because, I mean, Biffle was just... He was in a competitive car every week, so he was capable of winning. I knew Dave Blaney wasn't really going to win a race. Even at a young age, I knew that probably was going to happen. But I was a Blaney fan to a certain extent at that time just because, you know, at that time, especially his brother Dale was still running sprint cars locally where I live in Ohio, so Blaney name's kind of big up here. But that was the reason why I'm a Ryan Blaney fan to begin with, because I grew up watching Dale race sprint cars locally all the time, so... every weekend during the summer. Around every, not exactly every weekend, but it was a lot. He was my favorite. I knew him and Dave were brothers, so kind of quietly rooted for Dave Blaney as I was rooting for Greg Biffle growing up. 900 HPN Next Gen. Thanks for tuning in. They're teammates. He wasn't going to wreck a teammate. Upset, you just got to move on. Blaney's not the kind of guy that would go out and deliberately wreck anybody. He's very old school when it comes to just taking care of equipment. He'll be aggressive at times. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to like retaliation and stuff, that's not really up his alley. I mean, that's the reason why he doesn't do burnouts at the end of a race. Just trying to save the engine. He's probably the most old school driver in NASCAR today. Of the younger crop. I mean, there's probably still drivers who have been in the Cup Series for a little while that are like that. Like Denny Hamlin's kind of like that to a certain extent. Speaking of Hamlin, he's back for 29. And Kurt Busch is still in 32nd. And he's a lap down. Wow, so Kurt Busch with 52 to go is a lap down in 32nd. I didn't realize he fell a lap down. I noticed he was back outside the top 30 again. Scott Riggs is in the top 15 on the restart. He's 2 down. He must have had a problem. Had to pit unscheduled. There's only 4 cars that are either off the track because of an issue of some sort or behind the pit wall.
And he's come back and has 3 Daytona 500 trophies. But Dick Berggren, he is mired in 20th position. What's up?
Well, he may even go further back.
Kind of want Biffle to win the Cup title. I'd be shocked if he runs. I was shocked he even came back to run a few races last year. I was ecstatic as a Biffle fan, though, when I found out like a month before the 500 that he was going to be trying to race his way in that day. I was like, wow, my first ever Daytona 500, and the guy I grew up watching is going to come back into NASCAR at the same time. that was awesome. I was on the edge of my seat during that duel race, seeing if he'd get in the whole time. That made the duels a lot of fun for me in person last year, just seeing if Biffle would make it. And he ended up making it. Unfortunately, he blew an engine or whatever happened mechanically after like 20 laps in the 500, which kind of stunk. I got to see him lead a lap under caution at Atlanta, though, a couple months later, so that was pretty cool. He led under yellow, and I think Blaney was still in the top 5 at the time. I'm like, what a day to be alive. Greg Biffle and Ryan Blaney are in the top 5 same time. I can't remember if I posted something in the community tab at the time or not. That was pretty cool. It's a cool moment. It was also kind of weird rooting for a couple guys in the same race at the same time, though. Biffle ended up not finishing that race because of a mechanical issue, too. They say debris in turn 2. We've had 2 debris cautions as the only cautions this entire race. It's probably debris from when Regan Smith hit the wall like 40 laps before that, if it was a legitimate debris caution. At least now, when there's debris yellows, they actually show the debris on the track. Oh, Kenseth's out in the grass. A couple guys are clipping it on their way through, trying to give the guys on the bottom room. Biffle wins the race off pit road. Kurt Busch goes either fuel only or 2 tires. He was a lap down before the caution came out. The scoring monitor must have not been correct at the top of the screen then. This showed him a lap down in 30th or 32nd, wherever he was. He was a lap down before the commercial break. Must have been on the tail end of the lead lap. Put it on. Jason Hebner, thanks for tuning in. I missed the COTs. Hey, we were talking about it earlier. As ugly as they were, they put on some good racing. This is a good race so far. I mean, it's fairly tame by Daytona standards, but so 2 cautions for debris up to this point. They might have gone caution-free in this Daytona 500 if it wasn't for potential phantom debris cautions. Oh, man, Michael. That is dangerous. Look at all those people there.
And then Casey Mears came out of his pit in the 5. He almost collected Kevin Harvick. Watch this.
Wow.
Brian Vickers gets the free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap when we go back to green.
Dope. Stewart's up there. Stewart really hadn't been inside the top 5. Well, really, he hadn't been in the top like 10 the entire race up except for the very beginning. He led a lap very early. But it was pretty much Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch leading all the laps for JGR, and Stewart was really nowhere to be found.
A wild week for past champion Kurt Busch. He has led this race after starting last, and currently is 30th. He's going to be our All-State Good Hands driver today for this event.
Yeah, I know. I said the same thing earlier in the stream. It's going to be 15 years old, this race, later. Yeah, it was a great save by Kurt. Yeah, Dale Jr. Dale Jr. threw a terrible block on Kurt. Kurt had a run on him on the back straightaway. That was on the last restart, if I remember correctly. All right, well, this is where things are going to get nuts because now the field's bunched. Oh, Gordon. Shock mount.
Something is broken. They had the hood up on it. I saw him pointing down at something.
Wow. He was up towards the front early, but he kind of faded middle of the race. Really a non-factor ever since the restart of the first debris yellow. Dave Blaney in 18th. I really hope Dave Blaney finishes this race. I say that about every week. He's bound to run into the big one of these times. I can never remember. I mean, maybe one of you guys remember. Was Dave Blaney ever in a big one in the Daytona 500? Did anybody remembers? I certainly don't remember if he was or not. That's fun. That makes it kind of fun to watch, though, throughout the course of these races, because I have no clue where Dave Blaney finished for any of these. So.
Get back to feeling like yourself again. 32 cars on the lead lap.
Now, that gave Mike Ford and that 11 group an opportunity to fix that left rear quarter panel. We found out what happened to Kurt Busch.
What was uglier on the car of tomorrow, the splitter or the wing? Comment in the chat down below. The wing definitely caused the most safety problems, but just from the aesthetics of it, though, which was uglier. I feel like a lot of people are going to say the wing anyway. Got some of the lap cars up at the front of the field, kind of similar to Vickers on that last restart. Scott Riggs is down there. Got the 8 car. Mark Martin's with him. He's also a lap down. Earnhardt's the next car in the lead lap behind Stewart. So that's the difference between 3rd and 4th. Both, yeah. A lot of people saying both. I would say or, but equally as ugly. Okay, so Kurt Busch was a lap down. I was going to say, so he, I'm confused. So he pitted. He went fuel only, but he was a lap down anyway, so he's back in 28th. So the leaderboard before the caution was correct. He was a lap down. He must have taken the free pass, or taken the wave around, because he wasn't even the first car a lap down either. Now I'm curious as to even if he did take tires or not. Could have came back in to take tires. That would have been so risky, though, considering this race has gone without any cautions most of the day, to not take tires. Because if it goes caution-free to the end, your tires are not making it to the end. They were blistering after 40 laps. You wouldn't be able to go nearly 80 laps on tires at this Daytona. Now, to a certain extent, possible. But 2008, this bumpy track, no chance. All right, Dave Blaney's up at 15th now. Biggest crash really messed him up. Talk about Gordon.
A 3-time winner and 4-time series champion.
6 wins in 07, goose egg in 08.
And the DuPont crew is thrashing down here
Yeah,
on the
win this
car.
after the... Well, I mean, that's similar to Kevin Harvick, though. Just a couple years ago, Harvick had the best season statistically of his career in 2020. And then in 2021, he didn't win a race. But he was still consistent. I don't know where Gordon finished in points in 08. But... Yeah, injury definitely had to have played a factor in that.
The DuPont Chevrolet was awesome. I mean,
don't know if anybody has anything for that 18.
He had to fight through it too, though, because ow, man, I lost my phone. But anyway,
I hope my teammates certainly do, but
it's not like the point system we have now, where maybe if he was seriously hurt, he could have taken a couple weeks off to maybe help recover. Not taking any time off at all. That had to have. It definitely hurt him long term, I think.
Jeff Gordon, the season starts with a little heartbreak for the 24.
So early in the season too, you go into every year, especially driving in an HMS car and even just being Jeff Gordon. And let's be honest, that you go into the year expecting to win a championship. So it's tough. Finished 7th. Yeah. So very similar to Kevin Harvick in the sense where he was still very consistent. Because Harvick finished 5th a couple years ago, even though he, in 2021, even though he went winless, he was 5th in points.
Everything is cooling down. The speeds, like you say, are going to come up. The tires are getting a lot more grip. And the big load that he's talking about.
Imagine being a Gordon fan after 01. Didn't get to. I mean, he probably did have a lot of fans that didn't get into watching that. I mean, when you look at the TV ratings in the mid-2000s, and they were higher than before, I guarantee there's a lot of people that rooted for Gordon because they got into watching NASCAR around the early to mid-2000s, and they never really actually saw him win a championship.
If this starts to bend in, which is probably what's happening, all of a sudden the camber game's going to change. You're going to wear the right front tire out, and you're going to have a serious safety situation because these right front tires cannot take that kind of abuse. And as the speeds go up, we may see some more of that, Larry.
The way this race has gone, it has been Kyle Busch's race to lose. The 2008 race, like this, was his 500.
Top 20 drivers just ran their individual fastest lap of this race.
Oh, trouble off turn 4 here. We got a big one.
Oh, well, it wasn't the big one. That looks like a hard impact, though. That his teammate that was involved? Yeah, I think Kenseth was behind Reagan. It wasn't the big one, but that was a hard hit for David Reagan. That suspension is all sorts of messed up. Look how low the right side of the car is compared to the left. Kenseth had a good car, too. And David Reagan was kind of quietly in the top 10 there right before the caution. Kenseth pulling a NASCAR 2022 and going backwards to pit road. Saw that so many times this season. That's what it reminded me of. All right, what happened? Oh, he just went up. I don't know if maybe he got tight.
Because he sure wasn't hoping that Matt would cut him some slack, but that's 2 team cars.
He was like a half a car length to his outside. Kenseth was. It wasn't even close. Yeah, he had to have made a mistake. I don't think he was trying to clear Kenseth. There's no way. Dave Blaney was right behind that Caterpillar car. He got through, though.
It's just, this is just so typical of the way the race goes. You race, ride, but then when it comes down to...
It's not good for Biffle because that's a couple teammates he had riding around him that now he doesn't have anymore. They didn't really rely on manufacturers to help as much at this time period compared to what they do now, as much as they relied on teammates to kind of help.
I think pit road will be a busy place with a lot of strategies because this actually puts us where we can make it to the end of the race should we go caution free.
NASCAR fan since '85.
No, I don't think so. They'd be pretty optimistic at this point.
But here they come, all but Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Just aged myself. Appreciate you sticking with the sport, though. Oh, Earnhardt's... Okay, so Earnhardt stayed out. Dude, man, that's interesting. Where was he at before that, though? Was he... If he was towards the front of the field, I don't like that call. His pit crew had not been very good in this race, though, so maybe they didn't trust the pit crew to get a good, clean stop. So, yeah, it's probably better, maybe, to stay out in that scenario. I don't know.
We only have 6 laps on our tires, and now we're full of fuel.
I mean, 6 laps. Oh, let's go Dave Blaney. Dave Blaney wins the race off pit road. 10 spots. Thank you very much. Let's go, Dave. Let's go, Dave.
Haven't said much about old Blaney. He's kind of been laying back, I think.
Junior is pushing on fuel, though, quite a bit. By not topping off at the very least. I think they said 44 to 46 laps was a fuel window. But then the tires, though, too. The tires have been wearing out more than the fuel has been an issue in this race.
tools are the official tools of NASCAR.
They might have had some of the blistering that the tires had earlier in the race under somewhat of a control too, because there really had only been a couple tire issues the entire race. Mark Martin and I think Vickers had a tire issue on restart also. But that might have just been a product of having the air pressure too low, because it was like right after that first debris yellow earlier. So that was the first actual crash of the race. But a very clean race. Most of the races we've watched on the channel, these old Daytona 500s have been clean. Not the 2011 one. That one had the most yellows. But outside of 2011, though, this being the fourth race we've watched of the classic Daytona 500s, 3 of the 4 have been fairly clean.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not stop under this caution period. He's the race
Remember
leader.
David Reagan crashing a lot? He did crash a lot, unfortunately.
Why he stayed out. Matt.
Yeah, I think he just got tight there. I don't think he was trying to slide up intentionally. Let's go Dave Blaney in P2. This is the second Daytona 500 in a row that we have watched, and Dave Blaney's been in the top 2 with about 30 to go. Let's go. This one's more on strategy, though. The 2011 race, he was just flat out up there on speed. I remember having some great runs on the tandem era. Specifically in the 36 car with Tommy Baldwin racing, he had a bunch of good races on super speedways. Once we get into watching some older races throughout the course of the season at other tracks that aren't Daytona, we're probably going to see Dave Blaney running like 20th, 30th the whole time, so I'm not going to have as much fun as what I am throughout the offseason while we're watching some old 500s.
You made that call just like I know Tony does, with Brian in there and Darian in there, helping him make that call.
Yeah, Kenseth, I don't think it's too much damage to like completely take him out of it from speed, but they would have had to repair damage, so he's towards the rear of the field right now. I think he's fast enough to hang on to the draft still. I just don't think he's going to be a contender for the win anymore. We'll see where he finishes. Jeff Burton hadn't really been up towards the front all day. He's in 7th. Sorensen started up towards the front and kind of faded. He's back to 8th. Kyle Busch fell back to 11th. He took tires, though, so that's why he fell as far back. We haven't seen Kyle Busch this far back in track. Well, he's qualified mid-pack, so I guess he did work his way up at the beginning. But the track conditions now are way different. It's cooler. A lot of the field is more condensed together as far as setup go compared to the start of the race, because they weren't spreading apart as much as they were at the beginning. Stay on the back of the 88, Dave. If you want to lead one lap, though, I guess that's okay with me. Just don't get hung out. Oh, he couldn't get to the bottom. No. Junior pulled down in front of the lappers, but Dave Blaney was still on the outside. Stewart's behind the 22. Don't let the lap cars pull up in front of you, Dave. Okay, he's got a big run on Earnhardt. Oh, he went to the bottom now. Good move. Get around the lap cars, follow the 88. I hope Dave Blaney gets a good finish. It's a weird route for a driver in a race that already happened. Don't do anything out of the ordinary, Tony. There's a push. Going to the outside. I'm surprised he got around him still. I felt like with the push he gave him, that would have stalled him out more than it did. Dave's still on the bottom. He's getting hung out now. Oh, wow. Kurt blocking Denny. Okay, Dave's still up there. He's battling with Stewart. I wouldn't push in the middle of the corner like that, but... Let's go, Dave. He actually got the wall earlier in the race, too. I kind of forgot about that till just now. I saw the scuff marks on the side of his car. I forgot he had gotten into the wall earlier. Or it wasn't the wall. He made contact with another car because there was a donut on the right side of it. Kyle Busch is already up inside the top 5 on the restart. That's insane. That was old rides right in front of him in the 07. Harvick blocking Hamlin on the bottom. Junior blocking everybody. Casey's got a big push from Stewart. He was all over the place, though. Good thing Tony was willing to let off there because Casey was a little wobbly.
These cars have a really, really fast closing rate. They got so much more power than they had before. You got to really be careful running in the back of somebody.
Single file restarts. I don't think single file. I do like what they have now with the double file restarts that drivers get to pick their lane because it kind of stunk that if you were like in second and the outside was not preferred on a restart that you could fall back to sixth on a restart, even though you ran second the whole race, especially if it was like a late race restart. So I do like that you can pick your own lane now. Wish they would have done that the whole time, but just never thought about it, I guess. Oh, Earnhardt. He's pulled some risky blocks in this one. That one was a near block, though. Busch in the middle. He just wedged himself between Boyer and Biffle. He almost made contact with Blaney when he first pulled off the bottom, too. Oh, Boyer got loose. Crowd of the 18. It's getting extra racy now. Tony's been pushing Casey Kane that entire time. It's the first that anybody's been 3 wide the whole race. And with the new car, too, they couldn't have been too comfortable. We got a car on the ball.
Just go to the outside. Boy, that was a power move. There's old moves and there's bold moves. That was a
Biffle pushing Stewart to the lead. Oh, Kyle got loose. He almost got in the wall. I think Sorensen pulled up right in front of him.
We have got business picking up all over the place. This looks like the start of the race. But speaking of bold moves, look at Tony Stewart in his 20 car. He got a push by Greg Biffle.
Biffle's getting a push from Casey now. Tony up the block.
I hear thunder.
Tony to the bottom. Oh, that was not a good move. He moved down there probably thinking the 16 was going to... Well, now the 16 moved down, so I guess Biffle didn't have as big of a run as I thought he did. Oh, Junior trying to crowd the 9. He cleared him barely. Now we got a push from him. And with the push, he goes low. Casey follows. Look at the run he's got. Oh, Casey blocks. These guys are getting insane right now with 30 to go. Tony gets loose. Lapper in the way. They're 3 wide back there still, so that's not going to be good when Kenseth falls in line with them. Dave Blaney's still up there. He's fading, but he's still in the top 10. He's been on the bottom the entire time, and most of the cars have been trying to lane change towards the top. How about Reed Sorensen in 4th? What a drive by Reed. Reed Sorensen's in 4th place right now. The run of his career in the Cup Series. He won some Busch race, well, nationwide, I guess, at the time. Reed pushing Earnhardt to the lead. I don't remember Reed Sorensen having this good of a race. The 500 in 08.
The good thing about this car with that wing on the back of it, Mike, Larry, you know this, we've seen it all week. The car doesn't really want to spin out. It just wiggles a lot.
Here he comes, though, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88 car. He's back to the lead.
Biffle fell back so quickly. It's about 6th. Just got to the top, and then he moved back down to the bottom. Car in front of him did, too. I didn't see who it was. Sorensen pulled off too early. Busch is back to oh, Casey Kane, what a save! Oh, Biffle got into him. Yeah, Biffle clipped him, and now Biffle's slow too because he lost the momentum after making contact with him. Now they're 4 wide. Jesus, these guys are. This is fun to watch. I'll tell you that much. These guys are just going insane right now. Like that, Darrell Walter, about to break my fingers, squeezing my hand so hard. This is just, I mean, this is as good as it gets, honestly. This is what you love to see. Guys on the edge of control, but not wrecking. And still running so tightly together. It's the best racing out there. It doesn't matter what track you're on. And, man, I miss bumpy Daytona. We'll get back there one day. We're slowly transitioning to it, I believe, but we will have this kind of Daytona racing at some point in time. It's like the perfect hybrid of an Oh, Jimmy! Oh, he got clipped by somebody. What timing to pan from the commercial to that. I kind of wanted to... I wish they didn't go to commercial because the racing was so good before that. I would like to believe he probably had contact. It was so far in the back, though, there weren't too many cars involved. Oh, no, not Dave Blaney. I really hope Dave didn't get contact. Oh, he got a... I was going to say, he got a little loose before the contact, but I think it was because the air got taken off the rear spoiler with the 77, like, right on his corner panel. That's what I'm assuming what happened. That's what it looked like.
Fourth caution of the day. Pole sitter Jimmy Johnson gets loose.
Yeah, Jimmy didn't have the greatest race. He barely kept it off Blaney on the outside. The JJ Yaley in the 96 that went into the smoke down to the bottom. He's probably thinking everybody was crashing up high. He was just driving towards the wreck. Little did he know. Oh, no! That's how Busch fell back. He missed his pit box and had to go backwards. Oh, that's a heartbreak. He had been up there all day. That was his own fault, though. I mean, he missed the pits. Driver error on pit road. Stewart lost a couple. How about Dave Blaney again? What a stop by the 22 team. Oh, you know what? I think a lot of guys stayed out. Because Kyle only lost one spot despite overblowing his pit box, so I guess it wasn't too bad for him. I'm assuming most drivers stayed out. I mean, the fact that Busch only lost one spot because of that leads me to believe that there weren't too many cars that pitted.
We'll be back to the Daytona 500 on Fox after this.
Yeah, you'd be right on that. Tend to forget that Tony Stewart did drive Toyota this season. So there weren't that many cars that stayed out. There was only 4 cars that stayed out. So Dave Blaney's going to be about 8th then on the restart.
Personally, I think if you said the last time it was good to stay out,
I'm surprised Kyle Busch didn't lose more spots. Quite surprised.
They are committed now to go to the end, Jeff Hammond.
Hey, I don't go with that, guys. He knows he needs tires. Tony Stewart right now.
Just a reminder, you can vote in the community tab every either Sunday night or sometime Monday. I'll have uploaded the polls for the following week's Throwback Thursday live stream, so don't miss your chance to vote next week for what Daytona 500 we will watch next Thursday night. Same start time as usual, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also streaming NASCAR 06 tomorrow night on the channel. Start time at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time once again for that one. As will be Busch Series Racing, if I'm thinking correctly. Yes, Busch Series Racing at Daytona, actually, tomorrow. So we're watching some Daytona today. We'll have a 100-lap race tomorrow at Daytona. Everybody hanging Junior out. That's interesting. It worked. Jeff Burton's inside the top 3. Burton has not been up there all day. I think he was one of the cars that stayed out, though. Biffle's back up to 4th. So there was quite a few more cars that stayed out than what I thought. Maybe 6 or 7 cars stayed out. I thought it was just 4, but...
And they passed by the commitment cone, and when everyone stopped talking, Junior said, well, they're pitting. And Tony Jr. said, I was going to tell you to pit, but everybody was jabbering.
Jeremy Mayfield? Oh, he's a lap down. I was like, what? Where did he come from? He's a lap down. I was like, how did he get in the top 10?
But even with the problem in the pits, there comes Kyle Busch in an 18 car. He's already back up to about the 8th position, pushing Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88.
Oh, we thought about staying with him.
oh my gosh.
18 laps to go.
Did you see what Busch did? He dove out from behind Casey Kane,
Yes, Dave. Just follow the 88 and the 18. They've got two of the fastest cars in this race. Preferably Busch, because he is probably had the fastest car of any today. I think it's pretty clear Kyle Busch has had the best car in this race. Him and Denny Hamlin, but then when Hamlin had the damage on the left rear corner panel, what a move by Earnhardt if he pulls this off. Oh, he lifted. He thought Biffle was going to come down. That's smart. That's smart. Casey got forced out of line once the 88 lifted. Casey Mears pushing the 20. Newman's pushed. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Boyer gets turned. Did he save it? Oh, he's come back across the track. They got to throw a caution. Yeah, I was going to say. He did a good job not coming all the way back up. It looked like he was coming back across, though. Smart call with the caution. He made a great save until he overcorrected it, and then when he did that, they had to throw the yellow. It's a good call. What a move by Newman, though. I mean, he almost clipped the 31. He couldn't have timed that any closer. And Montoya got into the 07. He just didn't lift. He just drove right through him. Casey Mears in the top 10. Made a big block on Dave Blaney right when the caution came out.
Did you tell the whole story about the chicken and the pig? Junior Johnson, the 1960 winner of the Daytona 500. Early in NASCAR's history, Bill France, Big Bill, wanted Junior to run the whole series for points to be the national champion or at least contend for it. Junior just wanted to run the big paying races. He said, Junior, you've got to run this whole series. You're committed. Junior Johnson said, when you sit down to breakfast to bacon and eggs.
Wow, I mean, he could have just absolutely clobbered Sam Hornish if he came all the way. That would have been a terrible impact if he kept coming up the racetrack, because he was right in line with the 77.
Around off the bumper, a former Formula One ace, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Boy, can't have much luck here late in the Daytona 500. Last year he was sliding down through here about like that, except he turned over. Again, kudos to that wing on the back of that car. Kept that thing from getting out of going crazy.
I don't know that was the case necessarily, Daryl. I don't think the wing kept the car on the ground as much as the roof flaps did.
He is okay. Our Home Depot Ask the Pros page on FoxSports.com is a one-of-a-kind interactive...
And probably the splitter on the front of the car, considering he never got completely sideways. Kept the downforce on it. Just with these cars sitting lower than the Gen 4.
Now, the last time by, pit road was still closed. I know you saw Clint Boyer come to pit road to get those 4 tires. I'm sure
Dave Blaney in 9th.
And,
Robbie Gordon up to 12th. Kurt Busch is up to 13th already. I should have been watching him that entire run. He was a lap down in 32nd before the second to last yellow came out. Missed the Johnson wreck. Slowly moved his way up, got another caution. He's got a chance to get going again. He's running out of laps, but slowly moving his way up through the field. Hamlin's still back at 27. Michael Waltrip. The front row sitters for this race, 28th and 31st right now. I don't think Waltrip's got hardly any damage. He led first couple laps and he went straight backwards.
Kyle Busch has been the best car all day and into the evening here in Daytona. Tony Stewart's been fast.
Yeah, I don't think the wing kept the car on the ground, knowing what we know now in hindsight, with the flips that the wing had brought with this car on the super speedways especially. Hence Carl Edwards, Ryan Newman, Brad Keselowski at Atlanta even. I don't think the wing kept the car on the ground. I think it would have been more of a chance it would keep the car on the ground, but there was a space between the actual wing and the back bumper, the deck lid of the car. I mean, like, it was connected, obviously, but there was spacing between that. If there wasn't as much spacing, if it looked more like a spoiler, it probably would have kept the cars on the ground more, but that's probably why they put the spoiler on the car. Or you're getting airborne too easily. Now the lack of side force is what turns the car over. Because it seems like we haven't had many flips. Outside of Joey Logano's blowover at Talladega in 2021, we haven't seen flips unless a car is sideways with another car's nose underneath it, basically pushing them into the air. That's the only time we ever see flips now. With the Gen 6 and even with the next gen. Well, except for also Chris Buescher, but that was like an odd circumstance where he kind of caught the pavement at Charlotte and flipped it over. But that had nothing to do with like aerodynamics, which is why Buescher flipped. But aerodynamically, yeah, outside of Logano's blowover, I mean, there's any flip that you can think of within the last, probably since the really since the car of tomorrow, have all been because of that.
Three-time winner, suspension problems, and out of this race with about 55 laps to go. Frustration for Jeff Gordon. And here,
I think that's why it was so weird that Logano's car did blow over the way it did, because we hadn't seen that. Now, that rear spoiler was obviously taller than even the next gen, too. And taller than what the Gen 6 had prior to the 550 kind of makeshift package for the super speedway with the taller spoilers also.
into trouble. And then moments ago, Clint Boyer was hanging around the top, the leaderboard most of this day with a little nudge and slides to bring out the most recent caution. But again, Kyle Busch leading 86 laps. In the last 3 races, he's led the most laps. He has failed to win. In fact, the last 4 Daytona 500s, the driver who has led the most laps has failed to win the race.
And right now, you're looking at a guy that's...
I really don't remember Montoya being this close to the front of the field late in the race, though. The fact he's in second with 14 laps left.
One of the great things about this sport, the fans can listen to the drivers and the spotters and the crew chiefs.
Probably because it was 14 years ago. That's probably why I don't remember. If I was older, maybe, when I watched the race, that's probably another reason. I mean, I was only 9 years old, too. I'm sure a lot of us don't remember a whole lot of things back from when we were 9.
When we get a big suck, or can you change lanes to the corner? I can't do like you can, but I can run the bottom. All right, Temple. Just trying to compensate or figure out what, if we get a good run down the back, they protect the bottom. If I can change lanes going in, and you're going. I can run the top, but I mean, I'm better on the bottom, I believe. I just can't. There's no way in hell I can change lanes as quick as you can right now. Temple, you free or tight?
There ain't nobody out there to do that. He's just here to take.
Hey, Kyle.
Tony on the common channel talking to Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Strategy, and that's pretty cool. I like that. But look at these names at the top of the board. Ryan Newman.
Who's the lap car down on the bottom? If you're the only car a lap down, just pull to the back of the field. Like, you're not. There's no incentive for you to be up there. If another caution comes out, you're gonna get the free pass.
Yet there only have 2 drivers in the top 25 that have
It's holding everybody up, keeping everybody from wanting to pull to the bottom sooner than what they want to.
Ryan Newman, the Purdue University engineering graduate.
So where's Kurt? We need to watch Kurt in the 2. Blaney in 11th. I don't even see him. He's 14th. He was somewhere in there. So he is in 14th right now. Oh, Newman. Oh, Newman. Yeah, that was a bit risky. Big block. There were a lot of cars pushing a lot of cars there, too, when he pulled up. Earnhardt got loose. He almost pulled into Stewart. 12 to go for number 12. Wow. They were bottlenecking so much. Montoya about spun out off the front of the 88. Sadler's almost in the wall back. Kurt went up the middle to get by the 88 and the 19. He's still in the middle behind Burton. Oh my gosh, Earnhardt. Is he below the yellow? He passed. I think him and Blaney went below the double yellow line to pass Montoya. It was kind of hard to tell for sure. Oh, Blaney, no! Oh, no!
Dave Blaney, who has Toyota's best finish in Sprint Cup racing. Got up in the fence and got smacked by last year's runner-up, Mark Martin.
Heartbreak. Man, he was 45 at this time.
They no longer race to the flag.
And just yelling at him to come into the pits. He probably can't turn the car, is what I would expect.
Determined by not the next, but the last scoring loop that each car crossed before the caution came out.
Yeah, he got a big push going into the corner. Harvick gives him a shot there, and I think that just sent him. I think Harvick just pushed him way too late on corner entry. There were actually a lot more cars that got stacked up on the outside than I thought there was. Hamlin was in there. Mark Martin. Yaley.
And folks, you haven't watched these cars all week long. That wing, these cars will get a little sideways. That wing will push them right back into line.
Montoya was in the middle, really going backwards.
Yeah, Harvick just pushed him way too late getting into the corner. Harvick basically sent Blaney there. I'm surprised he didn't. It was weird the way he drifted up the track like he did all 3 lanes rather than like turning nose first. So I guess it was good enough car control, but he just ran out of racetrack. Yeah, Newman just being Newman at the front of the field, I guess. That block he had on the restart. Martin's lucky he didn't have more damage there. Actually, Martin did pound the wall pretty good a second time, too. Menard just about turned the 1 when he went sliding down the track, too.
This will put David Gilliland back on the lead lap. He was the first car 1 lap down. He gets the free pass.
And I have to use our favorite expression, obviously, folks.
Wind chill's 14 degrees at my house right now.
You get these cars all bunched up. You got $1.5 million to the winner. $18 million.
Robbie Gordon's in 8th. Pretty good run. Sorensen's still in the top 10. David Rudiman's up to 13th.
He's basically worked his way up to the top 10.
I didn't see where Kurt Busch was. I think he's in the top 10 now.
Patrick Carpentier missed the race, so that Valvoline sponsorship transferred over to Robbie Gordon for tonight.
Good thing it wasn't a bigger wreck, though, because they should get it cleaned up fairly quick.
Helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50.
Probably go green with about 7 or 8 to go. There's a bigger wreck. Well, then again, if it was a bigger wreck, they probably would have thrown a red flag to keep there from taking up more caution laps. That stinks, though. Blaney back to 33rd.
Hamlin was also involved. Montoya, and now Blaney creeps into the garage area without brakes.
Hamlin's had a tough second half of the race, from that fender flare to this. Hamlin had such a good car, too.
And there's something wrong with all these people's seats. I don't know what's going on, but they're not using them.
They're standing up. Something wrong. We talk a lot about
Something wrong with their seats.
NASCAR, Darryl. A Chevrolet leads. A Ford is second.
Jeff Burt was in the lead when under the last scoring loop in. Kurt's in 7th. Yeah, so he went from 16th to 7th then in those couple laps before the caution. Honestly, though, what we've seen today is a tale of 2 races. We saw, a kind of a calm race with some, good racing every now and then in between for the first, 160 laps. And then ever since that second debris caution, these guys have been on it. And honestly, the restart of that second debris yellow from about 34 to go until the Johnson spin with, just over 20 laps left. That 13-lap window, that is some of the best super speedway racing I think I've seen maybe ever. Unique though, you wouldn't see something like that quite now. And even before this, I think it was just the right combination with this car being so new and the fact that Daytona was super bumpy at this time. There was just such a lack of grip for both reasons that.
You know what it reminds me of? 8 years ago, they wasn't sure.
And they were still racing each other as much as they were fighting their cars too.
It also reminds me of this. We come back, bring that tape with you in July, will you? There you go. See how things go.
That was definitely the funnest part of this race so far, was that window from about 34 to go up until that commercial break before the Johnson wreck.
The race changed in an instant.
1 to go, so 8 to go on the restart. Kind of figured. Sizey, welcome into the stream. Be sure to hit that like button also if you guys have not done so yet, as well as subscribing. 27 likes on the stream.
This race
Well, you know something that's interesting to me. We talked about the chassis down that they did after the 150s. Jonas' cars were down 30 horsepower to the Toyotas. Now that was after the Thursday race. You reckon they were saving a little something for today?
And that has been kind of the norm. Go back to last year. Kevin Harvick, all the Childress cars were some of the slowest cars here in qualifying.
This has to be about the closest Jeff Burton's been to winning a 500.
I like what I see right here.
He hasn't really been towards the front of the field for a lot of 500s at the very end, like he is in this one.
Cheerleader is always atop the pit box and is always just emotionally tied up as this race gets to its conclusion and her husband's in contention.
There is not a more intense individual on pit road than Kim Burton.
What I was going to circle was the pace car.
Fell asleep when the stream started. You missed some good racing.
When they come around, they'll get the green flag for 8 laps to go.
You're here for the finish, though. Kyle Busch up to 4th. Casey Mears in 5th right now.
Newman's Dodge, Busch's Toyota, then Casey Mears, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Casey Kane, and Reed Sorensen in the top 10.
And they will not have to deal with lap down cars.
Sadler's still in 12th after hitting the wall earlier.
To about turn 1. That's about all it'll last.
8 laps, 20 miles to decide the Daytona 500.
Yeah, better start
Here we go.
serious defense, boys. If you're up front, they're going to be coming after you.
There's been a lot of defense being played on these last couple restarts.
Richard Petty has often said the best you can do is put yourself in a position.
Tony's got a big gap between him and Casey Mears. He's trying to back up to get a big run. He's got a nice push from the 2 also. Kyle's kind of all by himself right now. Casey's not too close behind him, and then he's pretty far behind the 12 of Newman. Top 3 stayed really close to each other. Kyle didn't get a good launch. But now Casey Mears is going to be leading Stewart, and Stewart's going to push the 5. 18, he should have tried to back up where Casey Mears is rather than trying to desperately catch the cars in front of him. See if Casey makes a move on Busch or if he's just going to sit behind him when he catches him. And he's staying in line with him. All right, so it worked out for Kyle in the end. Somehow the 2 lost to 20. Oh, Kyle's making a move. Nobody went with him. Or is Casey with him? Yo, Casey did go with him. Okay. Wow, he got by Newman and Biffle so quick there. Kyle Busch had the best car in this race. With that, you can't argue that with me. Kyle Busch had the best car. The evasive moves he's been. Speaking of evasive moves, what a move by Dale. Kurt's caught Newman now.
That's his buddy. Tony's buddy.
And Junior and Stewart now nose to tail.
Come on, partner. Let's be partner.
Here they come.
In Darrell, about all Jeff Burton can do is protect the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh.
Work hard on the wall.
Where? Oh, Casey. I think he pulled up. Is that yeah, that's a caution. He pulled up right in front of Tony Stewart. He basically turned himself into the wall, I think. I noticed on the camera angle somebody moved up. I couldn't tell who it was. Knowing Casey Mears is in the wall, he was probably the one that moved right in front of Tony.
Right sides down on the young driver from Bakersfield, California, whose Uncle Rick won the Indy 500 4 times.
His car looks very similar to David Reagan's when Reagan popped the wall off turn 4 earlier.
That is a shame.
Let's see what happens here. I know the 88
Green white checker coming up.
Here it is from the Goodyear blimp.
There's a 20 up on the outside of the orange car, and he's got Dale Jr. right on his tail. They come across the start-finish line, headed down here for 1.
Man, he was in 3rd, too. Yeah, he just moved up too late. He turned himself. He turned himself.
And it's almost like Casey was watching the 18 car. The 18 car started making that move, and Casey says, hey, I'm going with you.
One of the things the guys say about this new car is it's hard to block because the closing rate is so fast.
Mears had enough time to get up there, but they were coming too hard, too fast.
He waited too long.
Yep. He second-guessed himself, really.
Now, that's not saying it's okay to wreck him, but he should have moved over quicker, and that way he wouldn't have got
I don't think Tony... I mean, Tony had the 88 pushing him. It wasn't like he really had a choice. Even if he lifted, the 88 was still pushing him, so... Yeah. I don't think Tony would have lifted, but he didn't really have a choice either. Yeah, it was all Casey Mears' fault there. I mean, maybe his spotter told him to move up, but I doubt it. I think he just misjudged it. I mean, we see that to this day, mistakes like that at Daytona and Talladega, just mistiming blocks, mistiming runs. And lucky that it was only a one-car accident there.
No free pass because we're inside of 10 laps to go.
He's having such a good race.
We'll get a restart with a couple of laps to go.
Driver error on that one.
200 laps. If we're under caution, then we will go into overdrive. A green, white,
Overdrive.
checkered flag finish.
Not overtime like it is now. Overdrive. That was a good ring though. It put its own spin on it. Kind of like the chase before it was called the playoffs. Now it's more modernized. Same thing with our green white checkers now.
All the 500s have been decided with a green, white checker finish. You think this is exciting? Tune in next week when NASCAR goes California Dreaming. Friday, it's all on speed. Sprint Cup practice, Fastest Truck qualifying, and Sprint Cup qualifying. Saturday, the Fastest Truck Series is on Fox, and more Sprint Cup practice on speed. Next Sunday, NASCAR race day on speed at Victory Lane. Bracket the Auto Club 500 powered by Q right here on Fox.
I get to do the truck.
Trucks haven't raced at California in a while.
Looking forward to that.
Auto Club.
A lot of fun. Boy, they had a fiery crash here.
I don't think it's on the schedule next year for the Truck Series. They haven't raced there in a while.
Yeah, another
Need
exciting
to bring the Truck Series back to Auto Club.
Our starter, the flagman.
They stopped going to Michigan too. They haven't had any 2-mile ovals on the schedule in a couple of years at least.
31 car Richard Childress. He's been to Victory Lane twice.
They put on some good races at Michigan. I don't know why they stopped going there.
Senior 10 years ago, Kevin Harvick last year.
Daryl, everybody's misfortune, in this case Casey Mears, is somebody's good fortune. Was that caution flag a break for Jeff
Things
Burton?
won't get, yeah.
Is he now a sitting
Little does he know he will not even be at Hendrick Motorsports the rest of the season.
back bumper now. And his
Or
teammate
after
is
this
right
season,
there
I
with
mean.
him. Plus, a drafted buddy in Dale Jr., I'd say he's a sitting duck.
He's going to get replaced by a guy almost twice his age. Not quite. I mean, Casey was 29 at this time. Mark Martin was not pushing 60 when he drove for Hendrick Motorsports. It's a little bit of an exaggeration.
today? More than twice as many as any other driver.
They going green already?
This is Jeff Burton's 15th Daytona 500.
Oh, they are. Wow. They got that cleaned up super quick. Caution came out with 6 laps left, and they're about to go green after just 3 laps to caution. They had literally more caution laps for that debris, that potentially phantom debris caution at the start of the race. And what or not the start, it was like 50-something laps in, but
And how about
what they did here.
second? A foreign nameplate has only won once in the entire history of what is now the Sprint Cup Series. That was back in 1954.
Little buddy, you better get back. You better get back down in there, little buddy.
Hey, DW.
Yeah, buddy.
Sitting back here watching the way this thing's kind of shaking out. This is what I think is going to happen. 31 takes off. 18 goes to the inside. He thinks his teammate.
Definitely a lot of underdogs in the back half of the top 10.
Outside, brings the 12 and the 88.
And even just outside it.
And we're going to have ourselves a Donnybrook all the way down to the end.
I might say that you were right, Jeff, except I like the way Tony Stewart was talking to Kurt there, or Kyle there just a minute ago.
His career might take a tumble. Yeah, there's a good chance.
Plan, and I think they'll stick to it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I want to see that plan in the end. Every man for himself.
Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch told me earlier this week they will work together until
Oh, Jeff, did he miss a shift or something? What happened there?
Kyle Busch almost worked for that out of bounds.
There's no, I think he missed a shift. There's no way the whole field took off that much better than Jeff Burton. Oh, that's just a heartbreak. The pressure got to him. The pressure got to Jeff. Kyle's hung out too. He kind of got stuck behind the 31 when he pulled down low. He got blocked. Oh my gosh, Kyle. Kyle's just defending for his life right now. He doesn't care. Playing major defense. Reed Sorensen's still up there in 4th. Big gap between 3rd and 4th though too. Sorensen, Sadler, and Robbie Gordon right now are running pretty much, I mean, on the outside at 4th, 5th, and 6th.
But it's not over. So don't cast the check yet.
This is Tony Stewart's 10th Daytona 500, and already people are lining up saying, are you ever going to win it? Can tonight be the night?
What's going to be interesting, watch the high line. Remember a year ago, Kevin Harvick on the high side.
Newman going low. Kurt didn't go with him, though. Kyle Busch is down on the bottom, though. Oh, my gosh.
He can never get there. Look out.
Push for Newman and coming. That's Kyle Busch trying to get to Stewart.
He is all over his bumper in the middle of the corner.
For the win.
Tony hanging on to it.
She's going to go for a ride.
Here we come, white flag, bail out, 1 to go.
Kurt's got a big push by Sorensen.
Great car, no question about that. It's just
Then gives the push to Newman.
Kurt can get a little help.
Tony's blocking it well, though, in the middle of the corner.
Stewart blocks him. Here comes Kyle Busch on the bottom.
Busch has a big run now.
Drag race down the back. Toyota drag race.
Teammates.
Newman was trying
Now Newman's backing up to get a run. Tony just moved down at the wrong time.
to lane. Who's going to win it?
He moved down right as the 2 and the 12 were connecting bumpers.
Teammates working together.
He moved down for a run that wasn't there, and the run was actually on the outside the whole time.
Believe they can catch him back on the line.
He's going to have to make it wide. He'll have to make it wide.
It's the Boilermaker, Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman, Roger Penske. Win the Daytona 500.
Way to go, guys. Way to go.
Roger Penske.
I swear, I get chills watching every single one of these races at the end every week. I don't know why I do. I think I just have that much of a passion for the sport or something. Like, I just feel like chills running down me like every single time.
Look at this.
Like I'm watching it for the first time. It's the 4th week in a row.
He is. I have to give credit on that one.
It is the 100.
I mean, that's teamwork to its finest right there. One of the best, really, teamwork moves in NASCAR history.
I really like, and that tells you how good this race car is. They didn't wreck.
No.
They laid all over each other. They tried, but they did not wreck.
Sorensen with a top 5. Kyle Busch still had a good finish. Obviously, you know, when you lead the most laps and you have that good of a race car, you hope to win. But Robbie Gordon finished 8th. Good run for him. Elliott Sadler finished 6th in the 19.
Waiting for Bobby Labonte.
So a lot of the underdogs that were right there towards
Tears of joy. That's Ryan's wife.
this, you know, final quarter of the race or so, they still finished really good. Except for Case Mears, unfortunately, but
Who I'm happy for.
it's kind of his own fault.
Roy McCauley over here with Ryan Newman. Roy was Kurt Busch's crew chief last year. His wife Amy took sick with cancer. He took a leave of absence. Here he is, the winning Daytona 500 crew.
No big one. He only had 3 cautions for incident. I don't think there's ever more than a 2 or 3 car crash. I mean, Blaney hit the wall. He kind of had a couple cars stacked up behind him, but no one really was significant damage in that crash other than the 22. Blaney finished 38th, dang. He was doing so good before that.
Inside of his car, Larry.
Well, it's just your average smoke-filled boardroom.
All the smoke in the cockpit.
I've seen burnouts, but I've never seen one quite like that.
That was a good race, though. That final 40 laps was really good.
Last year, the Daytona 500 winner was 6th with half a lap to go. Here's the restart. Newman is 4th with no drafting help. Kurt Busch is 2 cars behind him.
Yeah, Kyle had a run, 31 blocked. I mean, everybody else went high, though. That's what hurt Kyle. He didn't have the push anymore. Well, then he still had Junior down there, but I don't think that was enough, though.
So now it's Stewart's Toyota.
Jeff just did not take off well. I don't know that maybe the 20 might have backed it up, or I should say really even the 18 backed it up that much better.
So Kurt Busch gets right up against
Jeff Burton just did not take off well at all.
Newman, and here they come.
This is the move that surprised me. I thought those 2 Toyotas would be, I didn't think you'd get by them, but those guys blew right by them.
They had that run off turn 2 with a bump draft with the help from Reed Sorensen.
Look at little Reed up in there. Top 5 for him.
Little Reed. That was a great race, though, because for him, for Reed Sorensen, qualified top 10. He fell back early, but then he was top 15 pretty much the entire second half of the race.
Second, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Did a great job.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished 9th, and Jeff Burton got kicked all the way back to 13th.
Wow, Jeff fell 12 spots in the last 3 laps.
Don Miller and all the folks at Penske Racing South. Helio Castroneves teammate in the suite next door, this is a great night.
He's going to have to dance with Newman now.
The Penske number 12 is the fourth Dodge to visit Victory Lane in the Daytona 500, and Dick Berggren is there to greet the 32nd different winner of the Great American Race.
To be honest, I don't remember a lick from this interview.
Ryan, it's been more than 2 years since you've been to Victory Lane, and here you are at Victory Lane in the biggest race of the year. How'd you do it?
With Kurt Busch and Penske Racing, I mean, without Kurt, there was no way possible. I got to thank him. And he could have made it 3 wide, and he was the best teammate ever there. And thank him. Our Altel Dodge was awesome. I got to thank Mobile Kodak. Get all the sponsors in before I forget. But just a great effort. My dad's spotting for me. My grandpa upstairs.
Oh, that's cool.
Just so many great people. My grandmother's here today. These guys on the team, they deserve it for sure. And Roger Penske, the organization, they're celebrating back here in Mooresville.
You've had several minutes.
Had no clue his dad was spotting for him.
Flag to think things over. What has gone through your mind in those several minutes? That is Dad.
Oh.
Oh boy. Dad in tears. Chrissy was in tears. What a moment.
Yeah, it's awesome. My wife Chrissy, my dad's here, and just all the great people. I mean, we're a family, and getting this Altel Dodge in Victory Lane was awesome. And again, could have done it without Kurt Busch. Tony blocked me hard. Thankfully, he thought he had Kyle to help push him, and when Kurt pushed me, man, we just stuck together, and it was just awesome.
Congratulations. What a race to win. Let's go to Chris Devoda.
Tony Stewart had a great car. It was a great finish, but I have to believe the disappointment of coming so close kind of outweighs everything else right now. Is that true?
That's probably a pretty good grip, yes, Krista. I mean, I don't think too many people will go and take the white flag and like finishing third, but proud of our guys. I mean, we tried to win the Daytona 500, so that's all I can say.
Second in the Bud Shootout, second in the duel, second in the nationwide race.
The front to the back, speeding on pit road, and then a dramatic finish.
This was unbelievable. You know, we just kept our head down. We had a car that was capable of a top 10, but it was going to be tough to break through and win. And at least we finished second and pushed
1-2 finish too.
Win. I felt emotional crossing the start-finish line, having a Penske 1-2. To see Newman break his drought and to drive into Victory Lane, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the small part of helping him win. And for us to finish second, no worries. You know, we didn't have a car I didn't think to win. And so the Altel team did great. Our Miller Lite Dodge team did excellent to come back from 43rd a couple times. And this was a great Daytona 500 for Penske Racing.
Now, when you back it up a little later on tonight and you watch it back in your motorhome or at home and you watch the final lap and a half, can you give us your perspective of what it was like in the cockpit seeing the whole chess match unfold?
You know, I had the 9 behind us, the 41 behind us. The Dodges were up top. The 19 was there as well. And if Newman stayed on the bottom to go with the 20, I believe the Miller Lite Dodge could have won that race. If he pulled back up, which he did, I was going to bash his rear bumper in and push him to the win. Unbelievable. At the end, you fight for 490 miles to position yourself, and we had 4 fresh tires, we had track position, and we had a big heart today. And it was emotional across the start-finish line pushing Newman. It felt great.
A 1-2 finish for the captain, Roger Penske. What a way to start 2008.
Well, Kyle, you had a fabulous race car. Talk about what happened on the last restart.
Well, those guys lagged back, and that's normally not allowed. So I don't know what the protocol is on that stuff.
Classic young Kyle.
And they just had a head of steam coming, and I pulled down low to go.
Complaining about them pulled back on the restart, I guess.
The line, so I got forced down there. And just kept my foot in it. Casey came with me there and helped me out and propelled us up to the 4th place finish that we got. And there on that last lap, Stewart had a chance to go high to block the 12 and a 2, but they just had such a big run. I think he knew it was going to be a waste of time, but he stayed down there with us to try to get us to get together in order to push up through there. But I just didn't have big enough help from behind there with Casey to get up to there.
Good job, Kyle.
Thanks.
And a driver who is down here pretty much all smiles is Reed Sorensen. You had a great car really all of Speed Week to finish 5th in the Daytona 500, the 50th running. How does that feel?
Feels pretty good. It's not quite a win, but it feels pretty close. Everybody on the Target team, including the guys back at the shop, have done a great job getting these new cars ready. And it's been good the past 2 weeks. We ran good in the shootout, good in the duels, and ran good tonight. And our strategy was to take it easy there at the beginning and come along there at the end, and that's what we did. And luckily we got some pushes from some of the Dodge guys out there helped us out. and I'm just real proud of everybody on the team, and definitely excited, and hopefully this gains some momentum to go in the rest of the season.
He started 5th, finished 5th, and made a huge statement for 2008. Dick?
Ryan Newman's father, Greg, has helped his entire career, all the way from the beginning. Dad has been there. Was this the goal all along?
Yes, it was. By all means.
What does this mean to you?
When he said he was going to be a race car driver when he was 8.5, he has now become the race car driver he said he wanted to be.
You did a good job with him. And Chrissy Newman, the wife, you have been on top of the war wagon for all of these races, and now here you are in victory lane at the Daytona 500. What are your emotions?
I can't stop shaking and crying. I'm just really proud of Ryan and this team. They really worked hard, and I'm excited for these guys.
There have been a lot of tears of joy in this pit, Steve Burns.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr., top 10
Flying through interviews.
Points race with Hendrick Motorsports. Overall, a good speed week. Talk about tonight.
Yeah, it was. We didn't obviously have enough car there most of the day, but we ran well. I'm real proud of my team. Real proud of the effort that we had this week, and I got to thank them because it's been great for me. I've enjoyed it so much, and the crew deserves a lot of credit. The motor guys, the fabricators. We struggled a little bit today, just trying to get good and get great, but we got pretty good near the end of the race. I made a lot of poor choices in where to take my runs and what to do with them. Nobody really wanted to help anybody, and I didn't either. You know, you get runs, you go. So it's just congratulations to Ryan and Penske. Ryan's a hard racer. Surely deserves what he got tonight, and we're pretty proud. We're going to build on this. It's a great finish for us to start the season, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun this year.
See you in California next week. Yes, sir.
As a team owner, Roger Penske won the Indianapolis 500 14 times. He had never won the Daytona 500. What is this? You got a Hendrick hat on.
Well, I talked to Rick earlier today. I said, you've been in the winner's circle so many times. If we win, will you give me your hat? So he was the first one down here. So thank him, and what a great day for our teams. And to see
I was wondering why you had that hat on.
Working here for many years, and certainly Kirk, the teamwork was just unbelievable. But it's a big day in our life for our whole team.
Congratulations to you, Roger.
This is what I was trying to tell you. Doc?
Saw Sam Hornish in this shot, coming over to congratulate his new teammates. What a great team effort. We've said all week long in Daytona,
And even Sam had a good run too.
This year, more than any other year, teamwork would be the key. At the top of the day, we said, the fastest.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to end tonight's stream. Thanks for everybody watching. Hit that like button on your way out if you haven't done so already. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Also, if you have not done so yet today. If you like this, we'll be racing at Daytona tomorrow night, virtually, NASCAR 06 Total Team Control, our next race of our Busch Series season. We saw Kyle Busch come up very close to winning the 2008 Daytona 500 once again. Tonight, we will try to get him a Busch Series win at Daytona tomorrow in our season. Again, you guys voted for me to race as Kyle Busch for the start of that season in the Hendrick number 5 car, leading the points so far midway through the year. We'll see if we can get a summer Daytona win to go along with it. My track record at Daytona, Talladega, NASCAR 6, not too great. I will say in the Busch Series, though, Daytona, Talladega once so far in the season. Did pretty good in both races. So, actually, I think I ran Talladega twice, finished top 10 in both of those, and then a top 10 at Daytona as well. So, I think we'll have a good run, should have a good car, and hopefully we can get a win at Daytona in the Busch Series. So, thanks, everybody. Again, have a good rest of your Thursday night, and I'll see you back and better than ever again tomorrow.